Here we go. Hey, finally. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the best Sunday morning sports podcast on the internet. Sunday Big Show with Mac, Jack, and Jim Jeffcoat. Today we'll have on our weekly guests Keith Angle, Robert Butler, the Philly sports guy. We'll also have an invasion of the super fans later on in the show. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jack and Jim. How you doing today?
Good morning. Doing great. Doing great. Me and Jack are not friends today. We're normally friends. Jets and
Jets are playing the Cowboys, so
well, we can still be friends.
Yes, they are, and that should
still be friends.
Why can't we be friends?
Maybe you were like that as a player, Jim, but you got to listen to the coaches. You can't, socialize with the other person, the opposing team. I'm going to be directing my comments to Mac today, not you.
Okay.
well, let's quickly go over the Eagles Minnesota game that played Thursday night. The Eagles go to 2-0. Minnesota goes to 0-2. The Eagles ran the ball all over Minnesota Thursday night, and they end up winning 34-28. And why pass the ball, Jim, when you can run for almost 200 yards?
That's true, and they got a hometown discount when they got Swift. He's from Philly, and he did run the ball well. Good morning, Rick. But he did run the ball well, and they did control the line of scrimmage. And you have to give them. I'm worried about Minnesota. I'm worried about Justin Jefferson is doing a tremendous job in Hockenson, but their defense is struggling, don't you think?
I think what happened. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, when a team suffers the type of loss that the Vikings did in the playoffs last year against a Giant team, it was a very beatable Giant team who wasn't even competitive in the next game against the Eagles. I wonder whether it carries over into the next season, because they had a great year last year, and you come up flat like that, you just kind of wonder what it does to some of the veterans mentally.
It depends, and that's
what Jim, Jim, I think it's starting to happen now. They've been drafting those quick, smaller defensive linemen. They've been drafting the cornerbacks, and now the Eagles are saying, "Okay, you want to do that? We got a big offensive line. We're going to run against you." And I think that cycle is starting to happen here in the NFL, and you're going to see a lot more teams running the ball because they're going up against the smaller, quicker defenses.
And I'd mentioned that. Good morning, Commander. But I did mention that is that everything in the NFL and college football is cyclical. And the cycle is starting to go back to, just like you said, because you're getting smaller linebackers. People are attacking them because if they can get up to that second level, they're going to make 5 or 6 yards on first down, and you're ahead of the sticks. That gives you an opportunity, and that's what the Eagles do well.
Well, without further ado, because we got Keith Angle waiting to come in, let's give our 3 picks against our favors. Okay, our 3 favorite picks. These are the favorite teams, folks, that are favored this week in the NFL in the second week here. I'm going to take New Orleans -3 at Carolina. I'm going to take the Chargers -3 at Tennessee. And even though I don't like picking my team this week, I'm going to take the Giants -5.5 at Arizona. What do you got, Jack? Well, if you unmute your mic,
stick with you with the Giants. The Cardinals are just plain awful, even though they were competitive last week, losing a close game to the Commanders. I mean, I like the Lions over the Seahawks. Something tells me I may have overrated the Seahawks when I said they'd make a deep playoff run this year. But between the Lions and the Seahawks, one of them is going to make a deep playoff run. I'm comfortable with that. And right now it would seem to be the Lions. And I like the 49ers over the Rams, giving the 8 points or so. Will the real Ram team stand up? Was it an aberration, them beating the Seahawks the way they did last week, or was it just the Seahawks not ready to play? But in any event, the 49ers at this moment seem to be the best team in the NFL at this moment.
Okay. Jim, what do you got?
I like the same thing as Jack, the 49ers over the Rams. I think the Rams still have injury issues. I like the Giants. You're right. The Giants should be better against the Cardinals. And I like the Saints against Carolina as my favorites.
Okay, so New Orleans. So as of last week, me and Pags are tied at 3-1 in first. Jack and Jim at second at 2-2. And our next guest coming up at 1-3. Let's see what he can do this week. Please welcome in Keith Angle from TGI Sports. Good morning, Keith.
The bigger problem is I probably bet all those games, which is not a good thing for me. Oh gosh.
Okay, Keith. So give us your three and give us your underdog, and then we'll get into a little college football.
So much pressure here. I will take your Giants, Mac. Minus whatever what was it? Yours might be different than mine, but I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to
half, Keith.
It's -4 or 5. I got 4 on mine. So
we're going to 5.5. That's what we got.
I got -1. I'm going to go with that.
Go ahead.
Buffalo. I like Buffalo to bounce back. One of the bigger overreactions I think of last week is Buffalo's.
Yeah, I could see that against Las Vegas.
Yeah, I like that, and I like the Chargers today in the favorite role. And my
against Tennessee, because Tennessee.
And who's your underdog this week, Keith?
My underdog. I've gone back and forth between Seattle, but I think I'm going to do something really crazy. I'm going to take the Jets. Sorry, Jim. +9. What do you got? First, what do you got? Actually, what do you got?
I knew it.
The Jets.
9 points.
All right, I'll take the Jets +9.
Yeah, so I could see you doing that.
So Keith comes up.
Yeah, I don't think they'll win. I think they'll keep that game close, though.
Yeah, because they're gonna run the ball.
All right, that's what they all said before, but they were too chicken to pick it. During their picks, Keith, they said that same thing before.
That's out of
You
respect.
were talking before the show, Mac, and you're holding us to it. Come on, it's official predictions.
Yes,
I know. Before the show, casually.
I'm respecting Jack because I'll be at the game. I'll be sitting there, and I'll get a good observation of it.
All right. Okay. All right. So, Keith, the college football top 10, Penn State, the number 7 beats Illinois 30-13. Florida State, Keith, number 3, gets out of there, out of Boston College, losing 31-29. Did you see any of that game?
I saw a little bit of the second half. I was playing some golf yesterday, but I did see the second half of that, and I was surprised that game was as close as it was. I believe Boston College lost their quarterback during the game too. Again, you know what? You're going to get some of those games, so you survive them and you move on. That's all that matters. So,
but I'm telling you what, Boston College has gotten better. They have one receiver that's really dynamic.
Yeah, they need to have a decent year in the ACC too, because their coach is under some pretty.
Yeah, Hatley.
Yeah. What else you got, Mac?
So we have Notre Dame 41, Central Michigan 17, number 10 Alabama 17-3 over Southern Florida. They're having quarterback problems over there, Keith.
Yeah, big quarterback problems. They benched Milroe, Buckner, who transferred in from Notre Dame, was terrible. And then the kid who came in, Simpson, I mean, he had a touchdown run, but I think he was sacked 5 times too.
Yes, he was. It was weather too. They had weather delays and everything.
This is the type of game in the past, Alabama would have gone in there and just rolled over this team. So Alabama, and I know you're going to get to Georgia, they're very vulnerable this year. I think both of those teams.
I would agree.
Guys, I haven't heard a meddling case in college where universities gotten seriously penalized. But is there any way that Arch Manning can get word to Alabama, I'm coming next year?
No, I don't know what the rules are there, but it's possible.
But you guys got to remember, Ewers is going to the NFL next year.
That's the thing. The only way
he'll be in competition for the starting position. Yeah. Actually, it's just like what happened with Jordan Love. It's not bad for him to sit a year and find out and understand, because he got better after the spring.
But
And that's
that's-
what-
I talk a lot about overreactions right early in the seasons, and week one, Texas's big win. Everybody made a big deal that Manning didn't come in that game when they took Ewers out. I don't think that's a big deal at all. If Cam Ewers is gone, if he has a good year, we should expect him to go in the draft. Manning will probably stay at Texas. If he stays, if he doesn't go to the NFL, one of them will probably leave.
The second, probably most likely, is the guy that's the second string now, and he is huge.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to try to get him.
Mm-hmm. Great.
This Deion Sanders is
So
always doing
Georgia
the
comes up and they
time. I
win.
mean,
Go ahead.
Well, right now we're going over the top. Right now we're going over the top 10, Jack.
Yeah.
Georgia, 24-14 over South Carolina. Pretty good game, Keith.
It was a good game, and this was, Georgia's got kind of a soft schedule in their division this year, and this is probably one of the couple of games that they could possibly have been upset. And again, South Carolina didn't play that well. I thought there'd be more points scored in this game, but Georgia again did not blow this team out at home. I say this a lot. Your record says what I didn't say it. Actually, your coach said it. You are what your record says you are. So they're winning games, which matters. But they look like if somebody in the SEC should really come out hot. And we had a big upset, which I don't know that we'll get to, but with Florida beating Tennessee. So there's a lot of teams that are good in the SEC. So somebody could surprise us.
Let me correct me if I'm wrong, Keith. Florida has had its way with Tennessee over the years.
For the most part, they have, except for a handful of instances. And
They were talking about that. Tennessee has always struggled with Florida.
yeah, even this isn't a great Florida team either. So I mean, Tennessee's one of the teams you would have thought if there was going to be somebody that would step up, it'd be Tennessee.
Yeah, Napier had to win this game too.
Yeah, and sorry, I got out of the top 10 there. Sorry, Mac.
That's all right. That's all right. That's Jim. Jim playing Jack on me. He wants to, talk about the other things.
Mac
that's going on.
is, Mac is,
Mac will never forgive me for the Cowboys beating the Giants 40-0. I had nothing to do with it, Mac. I'm a fan now.
True. That's true. That's true. That's true. Anyway, we were going to get to Florida anyway, but let's continue on. Ohio State beats Western Kentucky University 63-10. It looks like Ohio State is starting to get their rhythm down with the wide receivers there, Keith.
McCord is starting to play. He's played better pretty much every week. Again, they haven't played. Next week is a real test for them and Notre Dame, as you mentioned, the team you mentioned earlier. They're playing next week. That'll be a big test for McCord. It'll be a big test for Notre Dame. This is going to be the big game of the week next week.
Yes.
Defense played better too, by the way.
Texas beats Wyoming 31-10. I know.
Yes, sorry about that. I think you got a little delay.
I know you would look. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, we got a delay going. Texas beats Wyoming 31-10. Were you surprised that it was that easy for them?
No, I talked about it when I did the my impromptu college football huddle Friday afternoon. That Wyoming, I thought, would battle hard here. They battled hard into the fourth quarter. This game was tied in the fourth quarter, and Texas pulled away. I'm not surprised they had a bit of a letdown. And Wyoming's they're an interesting team. That Mountain West has got some interesting teams in it that can throw a scare into a lot of teams around the country.
Yes, they can.
They definitely do. So the last of the top 10 I want to get to is Michigan rolls over Bowling Green. They got Harbaugh coming back next week. So pretty much what we thought, Keith. They didn't really need Harbaugh for these first 4 games.
They didn't. I mean, they're loaded. J.J. McCarthy has really become a really good quarterback. He played well last year. The experience that he's showing, and Blake Corum coming back, which was a bit of a surprise that he came back this year at running back. They've got a couple of really good running backs. This is a really good football team, and this may be the year with the SEC down a little bit. If we want to say they're down a little bit. This could be the year that they actually get to a playoff and maybe make some noise.
Yeah, I want to speak up, Rick, but
Rick is
Mac,
concerned.
Wants me to be quiet. Mac wants to kind of set the agenda here. But let me ask this.
Way to go.
Keith, Jim Harbaugh, if Michigan does win the national championship, even if they don't, is he going to be in the NFL next year? There are going to be jobs available, and he keeps flirting with the NFL. He had success in the NFL before, took the Niners to the Super Bowl. I mean, is that where his future is? This suspension, does it have him fed up with college football?
I have expected him to return to the NFL at some point. Rick will tell you that he's not a big Harbaugh fan because he used his Vikings a couple of years ago to get a better deal at Michigan. That's what he feels. I think he wanted to go and Vikings didn't want him. That's all. But there'll be teams looking for him. He'll flirt. Even if he doesn't go, he's going to flirt with the idea just because it keeps his name in the news and it keeps Michigan, maybe getting his salary back. Remember, he got his salary slashed pretty good in 2021 after they had a horrible year during the COVID season, had to change his whole coaching staff basically, and he took a big pay cut, and now he's trying to work his way back up there. But he'll flirt with the NFL for sure. He always does. It's a guy, he always feels like he doesn't know what he really wants, right? He's always restless. Great football coach, though.
If you ever hear him in an interview, he sounds that way, too.
Yeah, he's a very polarizing figure. And
he's not like Fox, though. He lets you think things. And
yeah.
You got to give the guy, everywhere he's been successful.
That's what I'm saying.
And college. So you got
and he hasn't, it's been a natural progression. He did well at San Diego, which was never on a football map. He went to Stanford, who was way down. San Francisco was way down. And then he went to his alma mater. It's not alma mater. And he's a good coach. He got to a Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick, by the way. And that was a gimmicked up offense. That's why Colin Kaepernick's back. He's not back in the NFL. Not to start a whole nother subject, but he got to a Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick. And God bless him. He's a good football coach. We lose sight of that because of all the other.
There are some people in football. His whole family are football guys. His dad, his brother. I mean, they're just football guys.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all he's ever known.
Yeah.
Well, he did win the NFC championship, Rick. So when that comes up, I got a comment. And Rick says that he didn't win any championship. He did win the NFC championship, not the Super Bowl. And they were ahead at the first half. There too. If the lights didn't go out, maybe they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the NFL turned the lights off. We know. Jeez.
And correct me if I'm wrong. He played Georgia tough last year.
Speaking of Georgia, let's assume they're going to be in the playoffs this year and they have a soft schedule. All these easy wins where they're not challenged and they're not motivated, does that work against them come playoff time as opposed to the teams who've been given real challenges in the game tough?
I would say yes, Jim. You've been involved in those games. I think the more you're challenged during the course of the year, you're ready for pretty much anything. If you don't get those challenges during the year,
But Georgia is such a physical team.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. But the one thing I noticed about Georgia, they live on that running game, and their running game is not as efficient as it's been in the last 2 years. So that's interesting. Although they were playing with a guy that was a walk-on, if I'm correct, the running back that they talk about.
I believe you're correct.
Yep. So anyway, let's get to Colorado State. Really an unbelievable game. Colorado State gave Colorado all it could handle. They were ahead. Colorado had to come back. Colorado State might have been headhunting with Torrey Hunter. Lil Wayne is coming out on the field in the beginning, and the Rock standing out. I mean, it's becoming almost a circus over there. But as far as football goes, it was a really good game, Keith.
It was a very good game. By the way, the fact that Lil Wayne and Rock are even at this game is a testament of what Deion brings to a program, right? I mean, that says it all.
And that's the thing. He's bringing a lot of revenue in there.
Oh, definitely.
Like I said, I coached there for 5 years. We won the Pac-12 South, but he's bringing revenue into it. He's selling out the stadium.
Yeah.
These kids are playing hard because they shouldn't have won that game last night, but they did because a testimony to what he's doing there.
Yeah,
Now it's a little bit more difficult when they go into Pac-12 play this week.
yeah, I think, and you saw some of the flaws in this team. And they got a tough. I think they're going to finish September 3-2, by the way, because they've got Oregon and USC coming up back-to-back weeks. So, but if they win one of those games, then they're right.
Now, the big when we won in 2016, when we won the Pac-12 South, the pivotal game was Oregon, and we beat Oregon and Beaverton. We beat them there, or Eugene. We beat them there. Oregon is beatable. USC is a little bit of a different animal, but Oregon hasn't exploded like USC.
Who'd you coach under? Jim Durant?
McIntyre.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday when Colorado State, the way they lost the game, did their emotions work against them? They were so sky high, a lot of needless
I would
penalties.
think so.
There was a breakdown. And I mean, emotion is great. You need emotion to win, but you got to keep that emotion in check.
Yeah, that was the third most penalties ever in FBS at the era. So, and they were legitimate penalties.
Yeah, I think Deanna will also hold those kids accountable for that stuff too. So
yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. And at the end of the game, of course, they're going out to shake hands, and Deion Sanders' son has got to get in between them. Come on, Deion Sanders can handle himself. I mean, you don't have to go out there and make sure your dad don't get hit or whatever you were doing there. I don't know what that was. So let's get a little bit into the game coming up. The high-flying Dolphin offense comes to play New England. From what I understand, New England has 5 offensive linemen on the injured report list there, Keith.
None out. They have 3 guys listed as questionable today. Unfortunately, it's 3 of their better offensive linemen as well. They'll play. This unit, as I said a couple of weeks, I think I've said every week, when all 5 guys are playing together, it's a respectable unit. When they're not, things start to happen. Even last week, as well as they played in that second half or after the first 5 or 6 minutes, the offensive line had some bad penalties that hurt them later in the game when they had a chance to win this game. They've got to eliminate that problem. And again, injuries. Trent Brown is constantly injured, unfortunately, and he's probably the least likely to see a lot of action today, I think, from what I saw this morning. But I think Cole Strange and Onwenu will play most of the game, if not all of it. I think it'll be interesting. We try to stop that high flying. One of the bigger. I talk about overreactions. I'm not overreacting to the Dolphins. Huge offensive output last week. I mean, it's one game.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Tua is 5-0.
He is. We've had our problems with the Dolphins the last several years. Since 12 has left, we have had our problems with the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, I think that, the most important thing in offensive line, which the Giants don't have and a lot of teams don't have, is chemistry. They're either hurt or something else. They're switching positions. And that's what makes the Cowboys good. That's what makes the Eagles good. Not only that they're big, but they play together, and they play together all year and 2 years. And
no, all I was going to say is the Cowboys are still Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith is out, and he'll be out this week. They're playing the kid from the Jets. Yubu, is it? Who was at the Jets. So they don't have, but having Tyron Smith out there and having their tackles healthy are helping them.
Keith, New England's back, so they healthy? Because they had to rely on Ezekiel Elliott last week, and as great as Ezekiel Elliott once was, he's really more in a backup role. So if he has to be a featured back for a game, I think you have some trouble.
No, by all reports, they were healthy. Ramondre Stevenson had the flu last week, which is why he was on the questionable list. He played again. He didn't play as much as he would have normally, and he should be a full go today, I believe. Important. The guy's important to this offense. I thought it was. He did very well offensively with him limited.
And we're talking about the Dolphin offense. Max said high flying. These guys have been together for a while. Why are they high flying all of a sudden? Now, obviously, they have a potent passing game. I'm not saying they don't. But Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua, they were there last year. It's not like they're new. It's not like one of them just came over to the Dolphins. They were stopped last year at times. I mean, they could be stopped again. I realize Tyreek Hill's great speed, but you keep in
the problem
defender back there.
The problem you have, Jack, if you stop Hill,
then
you got to worry about Waddle.
It'll be
but
interesting.
They don't have much of a running game, the Dolphins. That's the thing too.
And that's where the interesting thing today will be to watch what this New England defense tries to take away, because they're going to try to
take away Tyreek Hill.
Most likely, maybe, maybe they take away everybody else. Though there's a possibility of that too. So
that is true, but shoot, then Tyreek Hill might get another 200.
Yeah, maybe we let it get 200 yards and 3 touchdowns and hope nobody else says anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to contain him. Jack brought up Miami last year. Tua got hurt. Before he got hurt, Miami was scoring, and he was the highest rating quarterback out there.
That's right.
That's why that they got stopped last year.
What did they have?
Tua right now. I'm telling you right now. Yep. Miami, I'm telling you right now, is going to win that division. I don't know who's going to come in second, third, or fourth. But I have a good feeling if Miami's going to win that division this year. I really think that. So,
hey, who on this staff?
Anything?
Miami?
Yeah. Okay.
Was not me. I can tell you that.
So anyway, so Keith, I would imagine the Patriots' offensive plan would be to run the ball, keep Miami off the field, get touchdowns when they get down in the red zone. Don't kick field goals because Miami can score a bunch at any time. I imagine that would be the basic. Again, running the ball. It's going to be very important for a lot of teams to run the ball this week.
Absolutely. Anytime you keep an offense like that off the field, that's good, right? Keeps your defense rested, obviously. And they have to, as you said, like everybody does. And last year they were awful at it. A little better last week. You got to score touchdowns in the red zone. And they're built a little better this year to do that, I think, with Gesicki there. And just the way Bill O'Brien's running that offense. They'll run the ball, but by the way, you're going to see a lot of those screen passes you saw last week too, I think. That's one way they want to slow down pass rushes, and they did a great job slowing down the Eagles' pass rush last week. I think I said they would do that before the game. I think you'll see a lot of that this week as well, controlling the football with short passes and running the game, yes. And then take your shot downfield once you've kind of loosened that up. You will see Mac Jones take some shots down the field.
No doubt. If the Patriots go 0-2, if they do, I'm not saying they're gonna. Who's next up on the schedule for?
They have. Hold on. They have. It's a tough 5 weeks. We got the Jets next week, which is a little bit easier than it was looking a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, then Dallas, and then the Saints. So, got to win 2 of these games somehow. But I'm not sure.
There's no doubt about it. I mean,
Jets as victories, and then if we lose to Dallas, we lose to Dallas. I'm okay 2-2 coming out of these 4 games.
It's going to be a tough road. Listen, the AFC and the NFC both have tough schedules, and they're both playing each other.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I would agree.
If we can get any playoff teams. Go ahead, Jack.
No. Some of these teams just aren't good, and you're giving them too much credit based on 1 week, like the New Orleans Saints. I mean, are they a tough team on anyone's schedule? They just beat by a mediocre Tennessee Titan team last week.
I'm not giving them at all.
I mean, you would think the Patriots would win a game like that.
I didn't get that far into the schedule. They'll win that game.
And all of a sudden, Dallas blows out the Giants, and we didn't know what to make out of Dallas this year. But now Dallas is one of the favorites because it's Super Bowl. You were high on them for obvious reasons, Jim. But, we don't know how good the Cowboys really are. I
I
said
keep
last
telling you,
week.
this is the best team they've had in 10 years.
Okay,
Biggest
there's gonna be some major surprises today. I don't know what it's gonna be that we won't be able to see coming. I wouldn't have given the Rams a chance to beat Seattle last week. Seattle was one of my teams I thought was going to make a deep playoff run. I couldn't see that coming. Like, take a game today, for example. Everyone's high on the Cleveland Browns. Oh, what a defense led by Myles Garrett. Deshaun Watson is shed to rust. Nick Chubbs, what a great running back. What happens if they lose to the Steelers today? And there's a good chance that's going to happen.
They'll lose to the Steelers today. I almost took them as
So
my.
what do we make out of Cleveland?
Keith, I know I got to let you go, Keith. We'll bring Robert in. Keith, have a great day today. Watch some games and check them out on TGI Sports Talk. Take it easy, Keith.
Good luck, guys. Have a good Sunday.
All right,
Good
you
luck
too,
to
King.
New England.
Yes, they're going to need it. All right.
I would
Let's
love
bring
to know.
Robert
I hate
Butler
to say,
from
Matt,
Sports up.
I'm rooting for New England just to quiet you down with Miami, you and Jim.
Morning, guys.
Why is Jack
For spite.
like that?
Remember that, Jack, for on Seinfeld?
That's,
Why are you taking the
I'm,
back
that's
for
why I like
spite?
how Robert Butler keeps a cool, calm head. He doesn't get overly excited over 1 week the way you guys do.
Well, that's what it's all about, right? Football
It's
is
a
exciting.
marathon.
We all.
I've always said that.
Yes,
it
is.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Amen.
Yes. Jim and about a million other people have always said that. Robert, let's talk about the Chiefs.
I'm
Let's
going
talk
with the
about the
Cardinals
Chiefs for a
now.
minute.
Just one thing. I gotta give Jim credit for this. As a fan watching for decades, I get fatigued watching the whole season. Can you imagine playing in the games, hitting a wall? I mean, man, to keep it going, it's a credit to Jim.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you, Jack.
the reason why Jack gets fatigued is because he's a Jets fan. That's why he gets fatigued by the end of the year. If I was a Jets fan, I would too.
But
So, Robert,
even
let's talk
Aaron
a
Rodgers,
little bit about.
you're still pretty good. The Jets
Let's
are
talk a
pretty
little.
good.
Let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs. The 0-1. They're going to play Jacksonville in Jacksonville. Can the Chiefs start off the season 0-2?
Very good possibility, guys. If I were betting this week on something, I wouldn't touch that game with a 10-foot pole. I'm reading now that Kels may play, but I've watched some of the video. He's limping around on that. He's got this thing on his knee. It's going to be down in Jacksonville. It's very humid down there. Jacksonville's played them tight the last couple of games. They did lose. I don't know which way that's going to go, guys. I'm not really sure. I don't know how many snaps Chris Jones is going to play. So I could see Jacksonville winning this game and them going 0-2 to answer your question.
Agree with you.
How much could Chris Jones have left?
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't know playing the position, keeping in shape, but maybe not being in football shape.
Right. And I read this morning that they couldn't franchise him because of cap issues or something like that. You're right about that. You got to wonder is he going to be on a snap? He missed all of training camp. He missed week 1, so maybe bring him in on third downs. I don't know. And you're right. I'm sure they put him through a conditioning test last week, Jack.
I would think so too. There is a stat that there's only 3 teams in NFL history that have come back from 0-2 and won the Super Bowl. The 93 Dallas Cowboys, it's the 2000 and whatever Giants, and the Patriots have done that. So the 2001 New England Patriots. So there's only 3 teams in history of football that have come back. So it behooves most people, if you want to play the odds, they better not go in 0-2 where the chances are slim that they make the Super Bowl.
My problem, and you can
So it's a little stat for y'all.
come in, Robert, on this. The problem with the Chiefs now, as great as Mahomes is those receivers. Because who does he have he can rely on? Even if Kelsey's in the game, he's not going to be 100%. So who's the other one? Tony? No. I mean, there's really Scanlon? No. And that's
giving
the
more.
problem.
But that's what he had last year, Jim. Same situation. Nothing's changed. It's not his first
Yeah, but
year
he
without
didn't have
Tyreek Hill.
Kelsey injured. He didn't have
Yeah.
Kelsey injured.
Well, Kelsey
It
might
forces
play
him
today.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
It forces him to learn that to work with other people he's not comfortable with. There was a second round pick. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. That had some big catches, rookie in the in the Thursday night game. It forced, and you know, a lot of guys, even the big time players, Brady has his guys, Peyton Manning had his guys. That's
And plus
something that I've always wondered about quarterbacks. That you just wondered if that's kind of the new quarterbacks to be should put more into getting other players involved.
Exactly. And plus, he's got 2 new tackles. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, Juwan Taylor. I wonder how that's going to work out today. You know, he used to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars too.
I know.
And Calvin Ridley was a story no one mentioned, an elite receiver. You know, he had the gambling problem, then he had some mental issues, which we all wish him well, you know, to get over that hurdle. But he was drafted high by the Falcons, never really had a chance to reach his potential with them. So they trade him to Jacksonville. Now he might be ready to blossom. He had a big game last week.
Big game last week.
But, and you guys say this all the time. One game is not a season, because there's a lot of teams that went 1-0 and they didn't do anything the rest of the season. Some teams are better prepared for the first game. And it's a long, long season.
Yeah. Yeah, like Cincinnati getting beat like that. I expect them to bounce back, even though they're playing Baltimore.
I don't.
You know?
I don't.
Baltimore's got a lot of injuries too, man.
Yeah, but I think Cincinnati and the injury to Barrows is more significant than we are being led on to. I just think because with that calf injury can aggravate you all year. And I think that's what's happening, because and especially with a quarterback. You know, if you remember early in the preseason, what did Aaron Rodgers have?
A calf,
calf injury. And you see what that did to his Achilles, because you're putting a lot of pressure on those legs.
Whew. Well, Cincinnati fans don't want to hear that, Jim.
Moving around, it affects you moving around. It affects you planting and throwing off that back foot. It you know, that calf alone, and they are right calves. So let's talk about Rodgers real quick. He's going to go. He's going to try and rehab. He's going to try and come back next year, Robert. He's 39. He'll be 40 next year. Suppose he does it. Suppose he rehabs and he comes back. Will that affect him next year?
Yeah, I think he'll probably be a shell of himself. You know, Colby wasn't. Now he was older too, but he really wasn't the same. You say, well, he got 60 points in the last game. Well, he took 60 shots in the last game. So, R.I.P. Right?
Kevin Durant came back from the Achilles.
Who did?
Kevin Durant.
Yeah. He's. I mean.
And
he's about 7 years younger.
The quarterback position, Rob, they're not going to have to, you know, run around as much, put the same pressure.
But correct me if I'm wrong, Robert. Didn't he take an innovative surgery? They're saying that he might be back by playoff time.
Yeah, I read that this morning. He could potentially be back in 5 months, would be playoff time. That is, you know, let's see about that. I wanted to, but I'm just trying to be
5.5 months he came back.
Who did?
Cam Akers with the Rams.
Yeah, you're talking a 24-year-old player. I mean, 39. Yeah, I don't know, guys.
Yeah. You make good points.
I mean, getting my Jets flag out. Yes, he's going to be back.
The age part of it is a little overestimated in this era.
He's going to be back by Thanksgiving.
Jack. You used to say you used to run marathons.
No. You slowed down a little as far as speed goes, but we're talking about rehabilitation from an injury. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about losing a fraction of a second speed-wise.
Well, everybody does as they age. You lose a fraction. Even Tom Brady, as great as he is.
But it doesn't mean Aaron Rodgers can't heal and can't play.
But he has to change his game. He
Oh,
can't do what he
absolutely.
used to do.
They're going to have to go out and get a left tackle, guys.
Yes,
You know,
no question.
big time.
I mean, he told them, Aaron Rodgers told them he did not like cut blocks. And on the injury, when he got hurt, the guy cut blocked him. He told them that. He said, "Hey, I don't like this, and this is the reason why."
Yeah.
So that's a big issue.
And they have their first round pick. So there's some, because he went out soon. That's what they need to do. Go after that tackle early. As I said last year, before the season started, I thought, man, maybe they shouldn't have went after Will McDonald. They should have went after Orlando Brown in the offseason or trade up, do something in the draft. You got to go all in with these older quarterbacks.
Well, the kid from Georgia, though, who New England snuck up, they made a deal with Pittsburgh, who Pittsburgh took, reportedly is struggling with Pittsburgh. I'm a big believer you take the best player.
True.
Will McDonald is really good, really good. He's adding to an elite defense. You go with the best player always, to me.
Yeah, it would have been a stretch to get up farther than Jones has not broke the starting lineup. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the only problem is Will McDonald is in the offensive tackle, so he couldn't help him on that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm saying
I know what you're saying.
Jared,
like Cincinnati, they bypassed Penny Sewell. You know, for their offensive line, they needed a
that
big
is true.
And they
would love to have Penny Sewell right now.
And look at Joe.
They would have had Jamar Chase then.
And yeah, they would. And right. And right now, Joe Burrows is healing from a calf injury. He's been hurt. Who knows what will happen this year, Jack? Listen, the offensive line is the most important group on the offense. You can win with good receivers, and you can win with a good quarterback. You can't win with a bad offensive line, Jack. You can't. It's been proven.
It's been yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, Robert, hasn't thrown an interception in 359 attempts.
Yes. Who hasn't thrown an interception?
Go ahead, Robert.
Who is the ask that again? I'm
Jared
sorry.
Goff.
Oh, Jared Goff. Yeah.
Jared Goff hasn't. Yes. 359 attempts. That's amazing.
Yeah. And you know, he's throwing the ball downfield too. I like what they're doing. He looked a little rattled last week early in the game, and it looks like something. I get a sense that Campbell said something. Listen, just let it rip, man. We're not coming here for show. We're coming here to win. And you saw after they went for that fake punt, more throws down the field here. Goff, just what we just talked about. That offensive line, according to Pro Football Focus, top 5. They got a left tackle. Penei Sewell couldn't even play left. They moved him over to right because Decker's so good.
Yeah.
So I expect them to play
now,
well
Decker's
today.
not going to play today, right?
Who's not?
Isn't he injured for Detroit? I think he's injured.
Who's that? Sewell?
Decker. No, the left tackle.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I think.
You're breaking news, man.
I think they said he wasn't going to play today. I'm going
to tell you, the Lions, Jared Goff is going to be a free agent. The Lions are going to have to do something as far as his contract. And to pay him like one of the top quarterbacks in the league, I think would be a real mistake. I mean, he's okay, but you can win with him, but he's not a true franchise quarterback. So if he has a good year this year, you kind of wonder the Lions going to be fooled into giving him a mega deal.
Yeah, and Taylor Decker's out today.
Oh, wow.
Ankle injury. But I disagree with you on Goff. He took the Rams to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Goff he's one of those guys you never hear a lot about him, but he does things right. So I coached against him in college, and I have a lot of respect for him.
He had Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and an elite defense. He's a decent game manager. He's okay. He's not an elite quarterback.
He's got some pretty good players.
Elite quarterback money is what I'm saying.
He's got some pretty good players in Detroit.
Yeah, that'll be a good game.
You know something?
Seattle's got Peters like left tackle for them, so I don't know. That'll be an interesting game.
I hate the word. I hate the phrase elite quarterback. What does that really mean? I mean, if you don't have an offensive line, a good defense, a decent running game, who's elite and who's not. I'd like to find out who really is elite in the
Patrick
NFL
Mahomes
without
is
a good
elite.
offensive line.
There's
Justin
about
Herbert's
He's
elite.
0-2.
Yeah.
Hold on.
yeah, but
He
there's
doesn't
about
look
3 or
elite
4
right now.
quarterbacks. Yeah, but there's about 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL that can win it by themselves. But other than that, that's probably your elite quarterbacks. But the majority of them are good or a little above average. But
they would. Yeah, they would have to give Golf a team friendly deal. They drafted Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee,
yes.
but then I noticed that he's not ready. They signed Teddy Bridgewater. That's going to be an interesting offseason deal. I think they'll win this division, and they will win a playoff game, maybe 2. That is going to be a tough decision for management because they would love to, go out and get that quarterback on a rookie deal and continue this team going.
Yeah,
So
we'll see what happens with that. Can Josh Allen, Robert, change his style to play? We see him last game again. He's throwing a ball deep in the double coverage. He's running. He's jumping over people, and it's not even for a first down or a touchdown. You love the guy's heart, but is that helping the Buffalo Bills win this year?
That is true. And you know something, I played something on my show. Jason Whitlock said he had a source within the locker room saying that Allen's not putting in the work now. A lot of renewed fame and whatnot. And, I got to thinking about that. He did put a lot of work in initially. And you just wondering if he can get back to that place. I think he can, but I do think he needs an offensive-minded head coach is going to say, that this throw X, Y, and Z, you do not need to throw that. He had 3 interceptions to the same guy, 2 fumbles. That is unacceptable, man.
That guy made $250,000.
$250 million. He's on the cover of Madden, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's got his retirement money already.
Yeah, and you make a good point because sometimes, and we talk about Brett Favre, he was like that. He was a gunslinger, and that's what his mentality is. And sometimes you got to take the safe throw as opposed to trying to fit it in there.
Right.
And everybody was on Diggs about what he was complaining about. Now we're seeing it.
Right. And 2 things can be true. Diggs could be a headache, and he's not putting in the work. I think that it's not going to be him. I think
keep in mind, Diggs.
They're normally headaches. I'm telling
you. Diggs had a reputation from Minnesota.
Yes.
And then it added in Buffalo.
There's levels.
That's a red flag as far as Diggs being innocent. I admit it bothers me if Josh Allen hasn't been putting in the work, but where have we heard that? Is that just some rumor going out there? Has it been confirmed in any way?
He heard it through a source in the locker room. I bet it's one of the coaches. It's showing Jack.
I think the problem is Buffalo, they don't have an offensive line outside of James Cook. They don't really have much of a running game. And I think he's trying to win games on his own. I think it's a case of trying too hard.
Well, and he's not taking the check down. That's all part of discipline, though.
I think he misses the ball.
Yeah.
I think he misses Brian the ball.
Yes. But he was doing some of that with the ball, too. So I don't know.
But do you realize he's had quite a few interceptions over the years?
Yes. Robert, one last question. I want to get to fantasy with you this week, too. I wanted to talk about it last week. We didn't. So I want to get one last thing for you. Have the Steelers lost their edge? I mean, I know it's only one game. We say that. But to get beat like that by San Francisco, it didn't look like the Steelers at all to me.
Yeah, I was high on the Steelers in the preseason too, guys. They've done a lot of things there. I wrote this team off before, and they came back. You just got to wonder if management will lose patience with Tomlin. They keep going through offensive schemes and coordinators. They're always trying to build their offensive line. I thought Broderick Jones was going to start, Jack, but now they got this Dan Morgan starting at left tackle. So there's a lot of moving parts there. I think they can come back because they've got a stacked roster. The players, other than the Broderick Jones thing, I think they play well against Cleveland. But I don't know. Cleveland seems like the better team. It's that is a big question. That is a big question coming in. I'm telling you guys, these defensive-minded head coaches, it's not a good era right now. You really have to take account that other side of the ball and put a lot of time, money, and resources, particularly into the offensive line. Not to sound like a broken record. Yeah. So
Robert, let's get to your fan. I want to know your fantasy team. I know you play multiple fantasy things.
Yeah, I had a fantasy show Thursday, actually. First time. I'm still trying to experiment with the program. Right. You know what? Tennessee's got a lot of injuries. I think Justin Herbert has a huge day here in Nashville. I've got him on this.
Without Austin Eckler?
No, he's out, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But guys like Mike Williams should have a big day. Tennessee's 31st against the pass. Derrick Henry on the other end, 4 catches, 50 yards, touchdown, 23 carries last time they played this Charger team. Chargers coming in, playing an early start time. West Coast team, little sluggish defensively. Don't know if Joey Bosa is going to play. So I got him. Christian McCaffrey against the Rams. The Rams had $75 million in dead cap money. They looked good, though, against Seattle last week. But I think McCaffrey will have a great game, guys. I mean, if he don't get banged up today. And I threw in DJ Moore. Because the leading corner there, Carlton Davis, is out for Tampa. DJ Moore knows Tampa, guys. He used to play for Carolina for years.
That's right. That is true.
And here's a good one. Jamar Gibbs, Detroit. I expect him to go wild today. Rookie out of Alabama playing with the Detroit Lions. Seattle's also coming east, and that usually hurts the defenses. Plus, hey, you just mentioned Taylor Decker. That's even more checkdowns. And I threw in Rondale Moore and tight end Cole Kmet from Chicago. I think it's going to be a back and forth game there. So the Cowboys defense, Jim.
Okay. All right.
Cowboys defense. What about them?
I think they play well today and get the W.
This will be interesting, Robert, because this is the first time that they'll see a running game like this because they got 2 backs that can run the ball. Breece Hall, really well. And you still got Cook. So this is going to be interesting.
But they
guys, we always
tonight, so
we say each week something happens that's a total shock to us that we can't see coming. Can you imagine next week we're talking about the way Zach Wilson threw 4 touchdown passes and shredded the Cowboy defense?
No, we can't, Jack.
No,
we can't, Jack, because we're awake. You're dreaming.
I'm saying I have that fantasy. We're talking next week. Man, oh man, Zach Wilson went 35 for 46.
There's the flag. There's the flag. You see the flag? They're throwing it at Jack. All right, Jack. I mean, the challenge flag has been thrown. I don't know what you're thinking. You don't pick the Jets to cover. You're talking Zach Wilson shredding the Cowboys defense. I don't know what you're thinking here. So the challenge has been thrown. Jack not taking the Jets as his favorite for the underdog, and Zach Wilson shredding, not just throwing some good passes, shredding the Dallas defense. What do you got to say, Jack? Do you want to go to the tape? Is that what we're doing?
But staying on the Jet theme, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers before. He was saying he wouldn't mind coming back and helping out, calling some plays for Zach Wilson, being there. Okay? He's like an assistant offensive coordinator.
He can't do it this
way.
Jack.
Right.
Pickles said on my program he'll be a wheelchair quarterback like Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights.
Yeah. There you go. I thought that's why they picked up Hackett with the call the play. Right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that? Yeah,
well, let
right?
me ask this question. Jim would notice playing the game at the high level. Paul Hackett likes to call plays on the sideline. He doesn't like to be up at the booth like most offensive coordinators because he likes to calm his quarterback down, have the communication. What's the better way to go? Be an offensive coordinator on the field, or be up and have a higher view where you could see a little more?
I like the higher view because you can see everything. It's harder to see everything on the field, but some people like that. Some people, but
Yeah.
I like it up in the booth, so I can see in the quiet. Because you can think.
Jim, they have people up in the booth that are signaling down to Hackett what's going on. He's not like it's not like they're not watching. It's not like they're not watching. I can understand him being down there talking with Rodgers and being with Zach Wilson down there. I can understand that, especially Zach Wilson. I could see him down on the sideline with Zach Wilson. I definitely could, just to kind of be personal with him. So that was you didn't give us your kicker this week. Robert.
These daily teams usually don't have kickers. I don't know. I'd take maybe Dallas's kicker or the Jets. Now I'll take the Dallas kicker.
No, Zerline is out.
Yeah, whoever the backup is.
Yeah,
good defenses that play each other usually just take the kicker.
Yeah.
All right.
I never
even
heard of
That's Robert Butler. That's right. That's Robert Butler with Sports Scope giving us his fantasy team, the big stories. We love having him on every week. Check him out at Sports Scope with a K. Robert, I know you got to get to church. Every time he comes on our Sunday morning football show, he has to go to church to cleanse his soul. So, Robert, thank you for coming in as you always do, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good show, guys.
Take care, Robert.
Robert, I called you Robert all through this day.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
Make sure.
The artist formerly known as Keith Fingal. No, I'm kidding.
All right, Robert. Have a good day.
Tell the truth, Jim. You had a card on there saying Robert Butler. You kept reading that, so I know.
Yeah, I did. I had to keep pulling it up.
Yes, you did. So, folks, what we're going to do right here is we've given you our 3 favorite picks. The only thing we haven't done yet is give us your underdog pick.
When criminals in this world appear and break the laws that they should fear and frighten all who see or hear, the cry goes up both far and near for underdog.
Yes, sir. It's our weekly underdog pick, folks. Jack has had time to change his underdog pick, and we'll see if he has or not. I'm going to give you my underdog pick right now. I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers with the 2.5 points at home, folks. What do you got, Jim?
I got Jacksonville over Kansas City with the 3.5.
I'm actually going to go with the Ravens as an underdog pick to actually win the game in Cincinnati. I know a few players are out, a couple on the offensive line, meaning Lamar Jackson. He can minimize that the way he runs the ball. Too, if he was basically a pocket passer, it would hurt more. The offensive line being a little weakened, but he likes to run around anyway. I think the Bengals are playing themselves into season shape. And like you guys mentioned with Joe Burrow, he's a healing process right now. The Bengals will be fine this season, but I think they're going to start at 0-2.
All right. So there you go, folks. I got Pittsburgh plus 2.5, Baltimore plus 3 with Jack, and Jacksonville Jaguars plus 3.5 at home against San Francisco. Against Kansas City. Jim, that would be really interesting if the Jags beat them. I think you might start seeing a little panicking over there. And
I think they will. I think I just wasn't impressed on how Cincinnati played against Cleveland. They would look like they were disinterested, and and obviously, sometimes when you're that good, you lose focus, and that's what Zach Taylor has to do: bring them back into focus. And I don't know if it's going to be this week. And they struggled last year, if you remember, at the beginning.
They did, but they didn't go 0-2. I mean,
no, they did not.
No. So anyway,
I
so
think sometimes the team likes to send out a message, and then my feeling is that's what the Chiefs do today. They'll give us a reminder they're Super Bowl champs, and they take care of business against Jacksonville. Jacksonville struggled with the Colts, and we weren't expecting much out of the Colts this year.
Yeah, but
They
here's the
struggled to win that game.
here's Jacksonville has some elite receivers. They got Travis Etienne, and they have everybody never talks about their defense. Jacksonville makes some plays.
Well, Travis Etienne is basically, yeah, I mean, they're running back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
Right.
just saying, Ridley, you talked about Jones. I mean, they got in Christian.
Has Trevor Lawrence progressed to the point that you guys thought he should have? Are you guys happy with his progress? He's a decent quarterback. We were talking about, at least other people, maybe not you two guys, him being a generational quarterback. Is he going to really be one of the great quarterbacks of this era? Is he only just going to stop at being a good
I would
quarterback and nothing more?
I think he'll be a good quarterback and maybe a little bit above, but a generational quarterback is hard to say. I mean,
yeah,
he's not in the.
So would have been disappointing his career if he's nothing more than a good quarterback when all is said and done.
I think he'll win a Super Bowl at some point. But I don't,
Okay.
Well, if he wins-
so-
yeah. If he wins the Super Bowl, I would say that was definitely worth the first round pick,
Yes.
overall pick. That's
Yeah.
for sure. So, guys, we didn't pick all the games yet, and since we got some time here, we'll see if Pag shows up or not. But we do have the 3 super fans coming in at 9:30. So let's get to some of the games that we haven't talked about yet. Starting off with the Indianapolis Colts at Houston. From what I understand, C.J. Stroud is hurt.
shoulder.
I don't know.
Questionable.
I don't know if he's playing or not, Jim. I'm not sure if he's playing or not. But even so, we got the 2 rookie quarterbacks that were scheduled to go up. They got right now Indianapolis -1 at the Texans. What do you guys think about that?
Low scoring game. I'm going to tell you, even if CJ Stroud plays this year, he's eventually going to be a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson, point blank. I'm telling you, he's going to have a better career. He's a better quarterback. But for this season, Anthony Richardson is going to dazzle a little more because Anthony Richardson can really run well, very physical, very athletic. So for the short term, it'll be Richardson, C.J. Stroud for the long term. You love Will Anderson. He's going to be one of the great pass rushers in this league. What a great draft choice, to jump on him. No one's talking about Will Anderson. Close game. I'm going to go with Indianapolis in a very low-scoring game.
I like the Texans. I think they're headed in the right direction. I think where you were talking about earlier, offensive lines, the Texans have one of the better offensive lines, and they have a good running game, and their defense is not bad. I think Stroud is going to get better as the season progresses, but I wouldn't say that Richardson's going to be – he's better than I anticipated. He's just got to understand he can't run the ball like he did in college because he's – and just like the quarterback for Jacksonville, he told him that. He said, man, you got to protect yourself.
You want your quarterbacks to be you want your quarterbacks to be fearless, yet you want them to have fear of getting injured. So it's kind of like a fine line. Anthony Richardson, watching the game last week, he was absolutely fearless, and he got hurt for it at the end.
Yeah, he did. And that's what I'm saying is that he's got to be smarter about running the ball. I think Richardson is going to be okay. I look at him, and he's going to be better than the quarterback at Chicago.
Justin Fields.
I think he will.
Good you mentioned that. Good you mentioned that because that's the next game we're going to talk about. You got Chicago Bears going into Tampa Bay, getting 2.5 points. What do you guys think about that game?
If I'm DJ Moore, I'm wondering why did they get me to be Justin Fields' main target, and he hardly looked at me last week. Okay. But I'm not high on Chicago the way, let's say, Jim is, okay, the way Jim was last week. But this is a winnable game for them going into Tampa Bay. And I suspect Chicago is going to win the game. They're going to make certain adjustments. I mean, things got off bad against Green Bay last week, but something like 2017. DJ Moore is going to be targeted a lot this game. Justin Fields is going to go out of his way to look for him.
Baker Mayfield, if he gets the signals like he did in Minnesota, Tampa Bay is going to blow this game out. He stole the signals from Minnesota, and he said that he knew everything they were going to do the second half, and he had a pretty good second half.
Yep.
I think, and you make good. I think Tampa Bay will win this game. I think Tampa Bay is just better right now than Chicago. Chicago is probably going to be a second half team and improve.
Yeah, we shall see. Green Bay at Atlanta. I almost took Atlanta as an underdog, but I don't know. What do you guys think? We didn't pick Green Bay or Atlanta. Do you guys think that Green Bay goes 2-0?
No. I think Atlanta squeaks it out. I mean, they have a couple of pretty good weapons. John Robinson, who they drafted, Elijah Pitts, when healthy, he's just about as good as any tight end in the league. They don't talk about him.
Yeah, but they
the
didn't
way
throw
they talk
them.
about Kelsey and Kittle. But he's outstanding. Desmond Ridder, what is his stat? He hasn't thrown an interception in the 5 games he started, which kind of means to me they're like protecting him, basically, not opening up the offense. I kind of like Atlanta to get by in this game against Green Bay.
My heart tells me Atlanta, but I like what Jordan Love does. He's one of those guys. People underestimate him. They're very good on defense, Green Bay. It's going to be tough because Bijan Robinson and, like you said, the weapons that Atlanta has. I'm going to go out on a limb and pick Green Bay to win this game.
Okay, so far you guys are opposite on every game. We got Commander Nash coming in here in a minute, but I want to get this in here. Las Vegas plus 9.5 at Buffalo, guys. Can the Raiders upset Buffalo in Buffalo?
I don't think so. I think the Buffalo is going to get back on there and they'll play better this week. The Raiders they got some good weapons, but I think Jimmy G is going to struggle this week, and I'm going to go with the Bills.
Yeah, I said before the season, the one team that I think was going to dip, would be the Buffalo Bills. I picked them to finish last in the AFC. How did they lose last week to the Jets?
I'll tell you how they lost, Jack.
You lose that.
The guy that tripped them on the punt return, they fined him for that.
The Jets would have kicked the game-winning field goal. He
would have been back 15 yards. It started where they
would have been about midfield. They would have worked their way up.
Jack, it would have went all the way back where he caught the punt.
Okay, but I like Buffalo.
Commander Nash, welcome to the show. I had to bring you in because Jack has turned every discussion into a Jets topic. Every discussion we've had so far today has been the Jets. It's gone back to the Jets.
We're unbeaten, Mac. We're unbeaten. Like the Commanders are unbeaten this year.
Oh. Good morning, Commander.
I'll give you that. Good morning, Commander.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Congratulations, Commander, on that great victory over the Arizona Cardinals.
It wasn't easy, but we pulled it off in the second half.
You got the W. That's the bottom line. You got the W.
Yes, sir. Oh, man.
Yes, you did. So, chance to go 2-0. Chance to go 2-0, Commander. I mean, this is going to be a more of a test for you maybe this week. We'll see. Right now, you're playing the Denver Broncos in Denver. And a high altitude that a lot of people have a problem playing in. What do the Commanders got to do offensively to move the ball against that Denver defense?
Wow, man, the offensive line really struggled against the Arizona Cardinals defense. We gave up 6 sacks. We got to protect Sam Howell. We really didn't establish the running game. The defense kind of started off slow, but they started off good in the second half. Chase Young is playing this week in a limited snap count, so I'm really looking forward to him to come out and try to, really set the tempo and hopefully pick up that 5th-year option. So we got to have our first 4 first-round draft pick all on the field at the same time. but we had to protect Sam Howell. We struggled. We could not protect him. He was scrambling, but we pulled it. Like I said, we did get the W. I didn't think we was going to struggle against the Cardinals as bad as we did in the first half, but we did end up pulling it off. So a win's a win.
Eric Bieniemy, did he give the Commanders any new look that was missing last year?
Honestly, I really was surprised we didn't take a lot more shots downfield. We seemed like we just had a close offense. We didn't air it out to Terry or Dotson or Brown much as we did last year. I think with Denver's defense, with the corners they got, I know they got Surtain's really good, but I think we could air it out more. We got to get Gibson more involved, but Robinson, they stacked the box on Robinson. We couldn't establish a running game, and they were coming after Sam.
Yes,
which kind of makes me ask Sam Howell. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack. I was going to say.
Was it possible the game plan was to protect Sam Howell to a degree? Because he's basically a rookie. This is his first year really starting. So they just wanted to keep things simple for him. Is that the reason they maybe didn't want to take chances thrown downfield?
Yeah, but they sacked him 6 times, so they didn't protect him very well, Jack.
No, we did not.
But the game plan, though. That's what I mean.
I mean, I can understand that because he's new, but, trying to get a feel for the offense. But everybody knows if you take shots downfield, it kind of gets the defense a little bit guessing. But if you don't take shots, the defense is up on the box. They're attacking the runner, attacking Sam. I mean, I met one of the Arizona Cardinals defensive players on the sideline Sunday. He ended up getting 2 sacks against us. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. But Sam did look – he had some promising plays and everything. But the offensive line, I knew that was an issue coming in this season just with our linebacker core. We should never gave up 6 sacks to the Arizona's defensive front.
Listen, Arizona, from what I understand, people say has a very aggressive defense. And so, it's hard when you don't have chemistry on that offensive line. I preached that last year. I preach it again this year. If you don't have the same players playing all year together and you're moving players around, it's so hard to get your offense going. I don't care who your quarterback is or your running backs are.
True.
So, and that used to be, the Hogs were one of the best offensive lines in the history of football, especially in the 80s, and that's what they were known for, Commander.
Yes, sir. They stayed together from the early 80s to the 90s through all 4 of our Super Bowl runs. 3 of the 4 of them, but 3 of the wins. But yes, sir, they stayed together. We haven't found that. We let Trent Williams go, which I'm very upset because we get good offensive linemen. We let them leave. Sheriff went to Jacksonville. Trent left. We can't keep stability on the offensive line.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So what is your defense going to do against that, the Hall of Fame Russell Wilson and that dangerous Denver Bronco offense? What do you guys think?
Will be back this week. Jerry Jeudy will be back.
Yeah. Jerry Jeudy's coming back.
We've always struggled against Russell Wilson. Even when he was in Seattle, they knocked us out of the playoffs numerous of times. I'm not taking this game lightly. I don't think we go in there and blow them out. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game to the fourth quarter. And if I think Russell, like Jim said, he gets his receiver back, he gets his feet underneath him. This could be dangerous. We could struggle against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack. Go ahead, sorry.
When the Commanders, and I'm sure you look at the schedule before the season and play it over in your own head, what might get the Commanders to the playoffs? Which are the winnable games? And I'm sure this Denver Bronco game came under the winnable game category. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I had us predicted 2-0 right off the bat. I know we got Buffalo and Philadelphia coming. I think we can split. I know we're going to take an L, but then we got a short week against the Bears, so we might not win but one of the next 3 games. We have to win this game. If we don't win this game, we don't keep up with the rest with Dallas and Philadelphia and NFC East.
Do you have any message for Mac about the Cardinals who played the Commanders? They play his Giants today, and Mac has it circled as a W. Are you going to tell Mac to hold on and be a little cautious or what?
Of course, I'm going for Arizona. But the Giants overall got more talent. But, Cardinals playing at home and coming off a close loss to us, they're going to come out swinging. But I think the Giants overall do have the talent. They should be able to go in there and get the W against Arizona.
I agree with that 100%. And with Jim, is our big Dallas promoter, and he loves his Cowboys, which he should. And right now, if you were to give who's going to finish where, I'm already sorry I'm asking this question, and the NFC, because I want to know your prediction now, so that at the end of the year I can make fun of you. How are they going to finish in the NFC East this year, Commander?
Okay, I'm a Washington fan, but I'm also a football fan. Right now, based on what I've seen, I think we finished third. I really do. I don't see enough energy yet for us to put us higher than third place.
Okay, so you think Dallas is going to finish in last? That's what you're saying, right?
No. I didn't say Dallas finished last. Don't get me wrong. As a Washington fan, it would be great, but no. Yeah. Dallas and Philadelphia will battle it out for the division title this year.
But I did tell you, the thing that's going in Washington's advantage is the schedule. Look at their schedule. They have winnable games. And Washington is better than we're giving them. If they get the offensive line issues, they have some playmakers in every position. People only underestimate them. I don't think they'll win, but they could be. I told you, they could be a playoff team.
And I've been saying that, like you said, Jeff, I said that at the beginning of the year. I looked at the schedule. I predict that we can go 10-7, and I think we can sneak in as a wild card. We're not ready yet to win a division. We got too much talent and strength in the NFC East.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
If the year goes south, is Ron Rivera going to be on the hot seat?
Yes.
Because he was one of the coaches who was,
I agree with the new ownership, keeping them this year to keep stability with the team, with new owners coming in and a lot of changes. But I strongly do believe that Eric will be our head coach next year. I think this is Ron's last year. They want change, and they want energy and excitement, and I think the players respond better.
Who did you say is going to be the coach next? There'll be a new coach. I mean,
he's saying
Yep. Our offensive coordinator will get promoted.
Eric Bieniemy has a bit of a background. Jim could talk on this a little better than I do. It would open up the ownership to a certain amount of controversy, from what I understand, if they hired him
as a head coach.
As a head coach, yeah.
Wow. I mean, they hired him, and I think it's the best fit.
This ownership did not hire him. You got to remember.
That's true.
They did not hire him. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to clean house. If they don't do well this year, I think they'll clean house and bring – because they did that when they were at the 76ers. They brought in a whole new coaching staff.
Yeah, front office, coaching staff, everything. Yes.
And Magic already said Magic said in person July the 21st at the pet rally. I did not come here. I did not invest in to lose. I want to win. So I believe that they are going to clean house from general manager all the way down.
Yeah.
So do they have to make the playoffs in order for the coaching staff to remain intact? Is that basically it?
I think if we barely get in the playoffs at a 500 record, I think change is coming regardless. The name change is coming. I think they start next year to hit the ground running.
What are they saying is going to be the new name?
Well, Harris came out and our GM came out and said Redskins is at the table, which everybody needs to let that go. It's gone. I've been a Redskin fan for over 35 years. Let it go. I know I don't think they're going to keep Commanders because it's tied to Snyder. So I know we're going to switch off from the Commanders. A lot of people said maybe the Warriors. I mean, there's a couple of things out there, but honestly, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think they'll move back to D.C. at some point if he can get the funding?
The mayor is in on it, and I know RFK is still on federal property, so they're trying to get it with the politics to release it off of federal property. I know they want them to come back home with the rest of the D.C. sports, and with ownership being prior Redskin fans, I think that lifts morale, and I think that's the best choice.
That was one of the most iconic stadiums in the NFL. You could see the ghosts running around that when you played there. It was a great place to play. They talk about a real grass field that was great to play on. That grass field was great to play on. I did get 5 sacks there, but it wasn't.
So right now, at this moment now, not historically, at this moment now, who's the biggest rival for the Commanders within the Eastern Conference?
With we kind of fallen off with a lot of our rivals because we're not being competitive. I mean, we tied with the Giants last year. I mean, we did beat Philadelphia and Philly when they were 11-0.
And you beat the
And
Cowboys.
and we finished off the season beating Dallas, Sam Howell's start. But right now, your guess is as good as mine because all three teams show up at FedEx Field. We're outnumbered with their fan bases.
Yep.
So it's kind of a little bit of
I don't
each
think it'll be
team.
that way this year, Commander. I think.
Oh
this
no,
is,
the Arizona game, we wasn't there. I'd say we was about 75%. There's 64,000 people at that game, and I'd say 75% were Commander fans.
It used to be a great fan base. I don't understand that you actually get outnumbered. I'm surprised to hear this, that the Washington fan base gets outnumbered by
Well, and that's
Eagles,
because
Giants,
of
and
the
Cowboys
previous
fans.
owner, Snyder, more than
Right.
fan base. They got tired of Snyder.
Yes,
Yeah, and
that
Chris-
is the biggest
Wow.
key.
Yeah,
Snyder, a lot of people talk about FedEx Field. You know, it was built in 1997, but that was under Jack Kent Cooke. That was never built under Snyder.
Mhm.
But Snyder stopped putting money into the stadium, so it's not. You have to invest in your stadium. I mean, if you don't, it's going to fall apart, and we get a bad reputation having the worst stadium in the league.
yeah. Good
It's
morning.
outdated.
But you also is that my son played for when they were the Redskins, and he played for them, and he said their practice facilities were subpar. They were bad.
Even the training camp site is outdated.
Yes.
But I think
Jim
ownership.
had told- Commander Nash, Jim had told us a story that what his son had told him about Daniel Snyder watching practice. He'd come with his beach chair like a day at the beach
With a
and just
cigar.
lounge and hang out.
I mean, they even called Snyder leaving some games early. What kind of message do you send to your fan base when you already gave up on the team? The game ain't even over yet.
Yeah.
But I will say that in 2019, I did go to every home game, and Daniel Snyder personally sent me a care package and a side card thanking me for my support and a whole bunch of gear. I mean, that was really nice of him because you do need to look out for the fans that still show up.
Okay. Good
Well,
story about Daniel Snyder, yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, Daniel Snyder, he might have been in a lot of trouble, you know, with all the charges that came up and keeping money. Maybe when he kept that money, that's how he paid for your, you know, for your little thing. You never know. So I want to thank Commander Nash for coming in. Commander,
Thank you, Commander.
great
stuff,
another great
Commander Nash.
appearance. Hopefully, we get you in here again as the Redskins, and I'm going to call them the Redskins. Continue
fair.
winning. We'll bring you back in. If they lose, we'll bring you into with that. Right, Jim?
Yeah.
Either way, right? I'll be at the game next Sunday.
I
So
like him in the Jet Man because we got a
Yes. All right, Commander Nash. Again, good luck to you. Hope your team wins, and we'll see you next week.
All
okay,
right.
appreciate y'all. Thank you,
Good
now.
luck today. Thanks.
All right.
Good luck.
Take care. There you go. Now, there you go, folks. Commander Nash. He's quite excitable. He's not a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, he's got a lot of
Yeah.
knowledge on that.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, a lot of times in
Yeah.
the NFL, like you talked about college football earlier, in it's schedules. Getting that confidence, building your confidence.
I
And that-
think I think these games early in the season are so pivotal. I know we say it's early, there's time to make it up, but they truly come back to haunt you. And Mac, take your Giants last year. People forget this. Their first game of the season, they beat Tennessee when the Tennessee kicker, Reggie Bullock, misses a field goal. If he makes that field goal, the Giants, instead of being 9-7-1, are 8-8-1, but they don't make the playoffs. So our whole perception of the Giant progress would be different based on just one kick the first game of the season.
That's most games, Jack, are decided by mistakes or field goal kicks or whatever. And I mean that's all how you call it, summation or whatever you want to say. That's the way football is. It's always been that way.
No, but
so-
sometimes,
Go ahead.
yeah, there's mass panic. Like for example, the Jets were beating the Bills. Why was it so valuable beyond what it means in the standings? Because if the Jets were 0-1 and they lost to the Cowboys today, everyone would be in panic. But instead, the Jets could actually afford a loss. You know, it would be cushioned somewhat because they're 1-0 as opposed to 0-1.
I think it's more important that it's a division game, and it's an AFC. The tiebreakers come in at the end of the year. So if you're losing to, like, the Buffalo lost to the Jets, the Giants lose to Dallas, that's where tiebreakers, AFC division games, that's like losing 2 games to me. You got to win the division game, or split the division game, or at the end of the year you can pay the price for that. So that's the only thing I think about as far as the beginning of the year. It's division games. You look at the Eagles; they haven't played a division game yet, right? They played out of division so far. So even if they lost one of them, it wouldn't have been as bad as them losing one to the Giants or the Cowboys or the Redskins. So, guys, until we get some more super fans in here, let's get back to our picks here. The teams
Chris
that we didn't pick.
Before we start that, Chris was saying that this
that?
is. Chris was saying that this is the best time of year, and I would agree with that. Just because you got every sport, every football league really getting to the position where it's fun. It's fun again to watch some of this. And that's why football is so important, or so popular in the United States.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean, if you think about it, college football is bigger than baseball or basketball as far as ratings go. That's how big football is.
But there's
When
a
you got
difference between the NFL. To me, so much more interesting in college football. Just look at all the games yesterday. Practically every game was predictable and came out the way we thought it was going to come out. The NFL always has surprises.
Yeah, but you got to
College
understand
doesn't.
too, Jack. This is preseason for college football. Now they'll start getting into league play next week, and you'll have some great games next week. So this was just preparing them for it, and that's the thing you got to realize. There's going to be some good games in college. I like college. I like the NFL. I like the energy in college football because they make mistakes, but the energy in those stadiums is incredible.
Yeah.
I like pro football because obviously, pro football is king. And Chris is right. The CFL is heading toward playoffs in another 7 weeks.
You mentioned the energy. It has to be a big thing for players coming out of college because they're used to the college atmosphere. Everyone is greeting them on campus. And now they just become another guy. They're on an NFL team. They go to practice. They go back to their room, go out to dinner, whatever. But it's not the same as being on campus. All that energy in college is great. Yeah.
But you're right. You're right.
Yeah, even if they're storming the fields, even if they just win a regular season game, it's all about the students.
That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it in college is the kids. I mean, they get excited about it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Colorado hasn't won in the last couple of years, and now they're getting the opportunity. Next week, we'll find out how good they really are, and I think they can beat Oregon. USC, like I said, is a different animal.
Well, if Jim wants to support storming the field, I'm not with him on that. I think there should be a stop to that because it could get to be dangerous. It's fun to look at, I got to admit. The enthusiasm is a ton of fun, and everyone means well. But a guy winds up at the bottom of the pile after making a big play. It's bad enough his teammates jumped on top of the pile where they could hurt him, but the fans storming, someone's going to get trampled.
For those who don't know that are just joining us for the first time, or Jack is a safety monitor for the show. Jack always is looking out for any infractions that might hurt somebody. And yes, this is a Jack Hurt that covers boxing where they knock the hell out of each other. But he is a safety monitor for the show. So if you have any questions or go ahead, Jim.
But Jack is concerned because in a boxing match, they never stormed the ring. So he's concerned about that.
Jim, if I had the talent to play in the NFL, eventually the coaches would see if I'm on special teams. Why is Jack always on top of the pile and never on the bottom of the pile? They would discover that.
That is true. Yes, they would. And talking about at the top of the pile, we have our weekly guest that comes in. Well, he came in a lot last year. We're going to see if we can get him in here every week this year to break down the Jets. And of course, I know he lost his mind when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Let's see how he's doing now. Jetman, welcome to the show.
Jetman.
Good morning,
gentlemen.
Jetman.
Good morning, Jetman.
Wow.
Yes. So,
It's quite a pill to have to swallow. It
yes.
was unbelievable Monday night. I mean, really.
But
surreal.
you're optimistic, Jetman. You're still optimistic.
Well, I mean, the big problem is the one thing that we weren't prepared to back up is what happened. Our weakest link.
Well,
All off season, I said we need a backup quarterback, and we still need a backup quarterback.
But Jetman, here's the thing. Zach Wilson still was drafted in the top 5. And
Number
Zach
2
Wilson
overall.
did have a good preseason.
True.
Everybody else has to step up to help them. And their defense is pretty good.
I agree with all those things. And the season's not over. I mean, I still think we can make the playoffs. It's just that the difference between 1 and 2 is very drastic. I mean, we saw it last week. You know, they won. He got the win. But, he was running around. He literally plays like he's down by 4 points, and it's the last play of the game every play that he plays.
Well, there were red flags. Even a touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson. That was a poorly thrown ball. Garrett Wilson made a phenomenal play. He wasn't supposed to throw the ball where he did, a simple pass.
Exactly.
And I trust Troy Aikman and Peyton Manning. Great quarterbacks. And when they're critical of Zach Wilson, that kind of scares me. They were exasperated. Once Peyton watching Zach Wilson running around saying, where's he going? And another time, Troy Aikman mentioned it's the most basic thing for quarterback to know where to throw a ball in that situation, and he threw it at the wrong place. So that kind of concerned me.
I don't know if you guys remember back 2010 when the Jets stopped the presses and they signed Tim Tebow. They then put Sanchez on a red light, green light system where they literally on the sidelines were flashing red light, green light for his plays to simplify the offense. I'm hoping that they're doing something like that now for Wilson. That slow it down, some screen passes, play action. Play action is going to be his best friend. Don't try to do too much. He's got talent all around him. I think this is a winnable game. Although, Jim, you were spot on with Dallas. I mean, they just pancaked the Giants. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, good going, Jetman. Taking a dig at Max, slipping it.
That's
in
all
there.
right. That's okay. That's okay.
I said last
But
week. I said
and
last week,
Max said that the Cowboys only really won by 14 points because the offense
Yeah,
only
Max was
had
saying.
14 points.
Well, I mean, as we're all trying to find light, in a silver lining in a cloud, like after the Dallas gets blown out the Jets get blown out by Dallas, and then we'll all laugh at that too. So it'll even out in the end. That's all I know.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a close game because you got two neat defenses.
You also thought that the Giants would give Dallas a game too. So I'm not taking any of your picks seriously, Jim, at all. So anyway, Jetman, let's talk a little bit about
You
your
need to
backup.
put him on mute.
let's talk about your backup quarterback, Tim Boyle. Accurate, knows the system. There's been talk about our own Philly sports guy, and I've heard this other places, that the Jets should try to trade for Kirk Cousins for 1 year. If they did that, they still have a chance of going to the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts on that?
I would love it. I mean, all options should be on the table.
Where are they going to get this money from?
They're gonna take people on Jim talking in reality. Mac doesn't talk in reality. Jetman feeds into what Mac is saying. Kirk Cousins isn't coming to the Jets. What are they going to give up from Jetman? They don't have a second round draft pick. They're not going to get their first round.
They got their pick back for
But it's a first round pick. Would you trade your first round draft choice if you're the Jets for Kirk Cousins? You're only going to have him this year because Rodgers is going to come back, so he's going to be a quarterback next year.
It's a trick question.
And
It's a
what
trick
Jim
question.
says, how do you fit this under the cap if you're going to do anything that crazy anyway?
Jack, how many times have we gone through the 5-year rebuild? Every 5 years, rebuild. The team is young. It's built. It's ready to go. Oh, we don't have a quarterback. Rebuild. We need a quarterback.
But listen, Jim vouch Kirk Cousins isn't a winner.
Yeah.
No, consider that.
You know what happened, Jet Man? I'm going to tell you the truth. Hard knocks. You had the hard knocks curse.
I hated
That's
it.
what
I
happened.
hated it. When I heard they were being forced to do it, I hated it then. I still hate it now. Didn't want it. Still don't want it.
Guys, we're 1-0 the Jets. We won the first game. You're talking like we lost. And when that Jet defense, they're going to get after Dak Prescott today.
I got fined, Jack. Remember that. He leg whipped them, and they did not call it. The referees did not call it on the punt return.
So, Jack, let me ask you a quick question. If the Jets lost to Buffalo 17-14 and Rodgers was healthy, would you feel better right now or worse?
Well, I feel worse. He got injured long term. I agree with you. But I would have been a bit disillusioned had they lost to Buffalo the first game because the setting was there for them to win. What encourages me, I look the other way. Unlike Mac and Jim, I appreciate defense more than offense. Okay?
So then you're not worried.
The Jets have a great defensive unit. I was only kidding you, Jim, there. But the Jets have a great defensive unit, not a good defensive unit, they have an elite defensive unit.
Here we go again.
You're not selling me on that.
Here we go again. They got an elite defensive unit. This is last year. Did they go to the playoffs?
No.
If they had an elite defensive unit, wait. If they had an elite defensive unit last year, which you think they did, then you say they got
have. I'm not saying had.
And Mac, they did have an elite defense last year. They had Zach.
There you go. And they didn't go to playoffs. So now, because they have an elite defense, they're going to the playoffs.
Right, which is why they brought in
Rodgers,
because they had a mediocre quarterback at best.
Yes.
Listen, I just read an article that's very interesting. I mean, it's pie in the sky, but I heard that Rodgers' surgery, they put in a speed bridge, and he is targeting January 11th as his return date. I don't know if you guys heard this.
You a Jet man, and I would like to have what Mac and Jim says. If Jets win the Super Bowl and Aaron Rodgers is this year's Super Bowl MVP, does that make him the greatest player in NFL history to make a comeback like that?
We all know Aaron Rodgers. All he cares about is winning MVPs. He don't care about winning Super Bowls.
Right. And there was no guarantee that you were – there's no even guarantee that you would go to the playoffs this year with Aaron Rodgers. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee.
One of the greatest defensive units in the history of the NFL, they might prove this year. I'm telling you.
Oh, come on, Jack. Jack, that's a stretch right there. I think they're very good defensively, but not one of the greatest.
Jetman, just to let you know.
A little too much
just to
with
let you know.
Who was it? Was it
Jetman? Okay, wait a minute, Jetman. Just to let you know, every discussion we've had today has gone to the Jets. So right now, Jack is like on seventh heaven right now.
I'm doing you a favor. The Giants got trounced 40-0. I'm keeping the discussion away from them for you, Matt.
That's right. That's right. We'll get to play you later. Don't worry about that. So Jetman, I agree with you. I think they should go get Kirk Cousins. Trade Zach Wilson away. He's not going to win anyway. Minnesota's not winning this year anyway. So they'll go and they'll draft a quarterback next year, and Zach Wilson will be playing second string again. And do you think a Super Bowl win, a possible Super Bowl win for a first-round draft choice, do you think that's worth it, Jetman?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Well, here's the problem you have with that. A lot of other positions you can draft, like with Denver and when Von Miller went to the Rams. That's different. Quarterbacks are different. You can't just have Kirk Cousins in and automatically you're a Super Bowl team. Because first of all, there's gonna be some night games, and Kirk Cousins is terrible at night. We all know. And that's the thing. The quarterback position is a little unique. So I don't
and you would agree. You would agree that the Jets have a better defense than Minnesota, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You'd agree that they have a better running game than Minnesota?
Yes.
And it would take Kirk Cousins a few weeks to get adjusted to a new offense and everything. They're going to keep things so conservative with Kirk Cousins for 2-3 weeks. He's not going to be his old self.
It has taken Zach Wilson 2 years to learn the jet thing over there. So I mean, yeah,
but they threw him.
Mac, has he learned it yet?
No, he hasn't learned it yet.
Fire though.
I'm waiting for that red light, green light thing. I can't wait to see that this week. That's going to be awesome.
I'm a huge fan.
I'll tell you, I'll be at the stadium, so I'm going to definitely look for that.
Nice.
Do the red light, green light. Confuse them. Have Dallas go on.
I'm going to send you a picture of it.
Yeah, bring 2 cars, red light and a green light. All right.
Yeah, Jim, go on the other side and confuse them. Yeah, bring a red light, green light with you.
Jim will be too busy eating in the executive suite. I know what the deal is.
What are you trying to say, Jack?
You'll watch the game. You'll look up. You'll see certain plays. You'll talk and then say, "Oh, what happened in that last play?"
No, Jack. I pay attention to the game.
Okay.
All right.
Now, I know you're a student.
I might have some food in my hand, but I'm paying
there
attention.
you go.
All seriousness, man. What does the Jet offense have to do to score on the Dallas defense? And serious, break it down for us. What would they have to do to get some points up on the Dallas defense?
A little bit of red light, green light, slow it down, ball control, run, but obviously can't let them stack the box. Have to have some passing thrown in there, peppered in there, but conservative passing. Don't fly around all over the backfield trying to set records on every play. You know, a little dink and dunk doesn't hurt anyone, and then use the weapons that you have. You know, maybe mix in a little Nico as a slot receiver, and you know, it's not over. I mean, it's definitely not over. And Zach Wilson can succeed. I'm a huge fan. I'm not hoping that he does poorly. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that he looks better than Rodgers. But
all kidding aside, I think they can do it with Zach Wilson too. Defensively, what are you going to do to stop that Dallas offense, Jeff?
Just play the game. I mean, you know, like you guys said, that too much talk. They planted the seeds to be a great defense. Keep your mouth shut. Don't say you're the greatest ever. Don't compare yourself to the Ravens of 2000 and to the Bears of whatever 85. Just play the game. I mean, their defense is stacked. I'm not really worried about the defense, but
I don't know who Sauce Gardner is going to be on. Is he going to be on CD Lamb today?
Depending on what
Sauce Gardner is going to have a big game.
They're gonna make problems for Dak too.
You see, I have a little bit of a different theory. I think in the Jets' opening drive, they've got to take a couple of shots downfield. They've got to just open it up a little bit because Micah Parsons is going to be coming after Zach Wilson right off the bat. And
he's licking his chops.
I don't know all this dink and dunk in the running game. They're going to be stacked up at the line of scrimmage. They're going to be challenging Zach Wilson. You hit a couple of passes early. You put a little doubt in your mind. You maybe make the defense lose a half step.
Or you throw an interception early, and that's it for you.
I think the Cowboys got 2 good corners in Gilmore.
I know Gilmore and Diggs are real good, but they're going to be one-on-one in the beginning. I really think so. One-on-one coverage in the beginning.
Possible. That's possible, Jack. Maybe
you
they're
hit a guy
listening
like
to you.
Alan Lazard with a pass, one-on-one, there's always you could take a deep throw with Garrett Wilson right off the bat because no one's expecting that.
You could.
It's also very frustrating that to add insult to injury, Zerline is out today. I didn't even know he was hurt.
Yep. He's out today. So
close game.
Picked up a kicker who he's been in the NFL. He's kicked in the NFL before. I forgot his name. Had some success. So I don't know how big a factor that
He
is.
just got off. He was a truck driver, and he just got off the route.
No, he was.
Listen, years ago,
That's definitely a loss. Zerline is a good kicker, and that
he's a very good kicker.
If it comes down to a close game, that might decide it. You're right. So that's something to be concerned about. I would definitely be concerned about that.
Yeah, years ago the Giants dug a guy up. I think it was substitute teaching, Eric Schubert. He kicked 6 field goals in that game, so you never know.
I remember that. I remember Schubert.
Yeah.
So, Jetman, I'm gonna let you get back to it. Are you going to the game today?
No, and I'm very disappointed. I had some friends. I went to Dallas, I think 20 years ago. We went to a Jets Cowboys game. I was gonna go, but I have a trip planned coming up, and I'm gonna be out of town for a while, so I didn't make the trip.
Man, there were a lot of Jets fans here because I signed a lot of autographs yesterday at the stadium, and there were a lot of Jets fans, but they wanted to take a picture with a winner, so.
Yeah.
That's too bad. You only get to meet Jim Jeffcoat.
No, Jetman. I think the Jets will be fine. I really do.
I do too. I think it'll be a close game. Competitive, close, defensive.
And man, the fans have got to lay off Zach Wilson. He's our quarterback. Let's support him. We're putting him under too much pressure where he thinks every pass could be his last one.
But I agree. You got to support.
But the last thing,
moments. You guys.
I think all teams definitely support him, but don't worry. Like they're always so worried. Don't say that you're not so good. Don't say that we're going to bring in another quarterback. Why not? Have a conversation. Sit down with this guy.
We need a third quarterback.
Veteran.
No, Jetman. Randall Cobb is our third string quarterback now, and that's unacceptable, obviously. So we have to get another quarterback from somewhere, but you don't want to bring in someone that's going to be any type of threat in the fans' mind.
I hate that. I don't like that mentality. You don't want to tell him. You don't want to wound him. Come on, grow up. We're all men.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's what it is. It's competition. So if you're worried about somebody coming in taking your position, play better.
Not now. At this point, it's his job. He's earned it. Okay.
He's earned it. Rodgers got hurt.
You don't bring in competition for Aaron Rodgers.
Jack, wait a minute. Answer the question. How has he earned it?
Well, he earned it because he's been with the team from the. I'll tell you why. He's been with the team from the start of training camp. He's been mentored by Aaron Rodgers and Paul Hackett. He's been groomed for this moment. He's been groomed to take over for Aaron Rodgers in an emergency. And now you're going to bring in another guy to challenge him for the position.
From your
either
lips
get
to
rid
God's
of him
ears.
or let him know the job is
completely
his.
Jack, you change quarterbacks every 2 years anyway, so.
But not at this moment. Not at this moment. Bring in a Colt McCoy type who's been a career backup and leave it at that. You bring in a big name.
Take the job. Colt
Bring
McCoy
in anyone.
These guys from Zach
these
Wilson.
guys like Carson Wentz and Jacoby Brissett who are being talked about. These guys have lost starting quarterback positions. So what's the difference between them and Zach Wilson? And I know Carson Wentz, what he did in the beginning of his career. But I'm talking about what they've done. They've lost starting roles. So why are they going to be saviors? And Kirk Cousins isn't realistic coming to the Jets. That's just tabloid talk.
I've had as much Jets talk as I can stomach for Sunday. So, Jetman, glad you came in. Hope to see you again next week. Good luck to you. I hope the Jets win. I really do. I mean, they're playing Dallas, so it would help us out greatly. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm rooting for them. I'm going to be there. JETS, Jets, and all that.
Same to your Giants. I think they'll rebound. Like everyone thinks the Giants will rebound today.
Jetman, I respect you, but Dallas is going to win today. I respect it.
We'll see. Right. We'll see, Jim.
There you go. I like that.
Go back
down. And just in closing, one storyline got completely lost, the comeback of Breece Hall in the first game because of what happened with Rodgers and the Zach Wilson drama. Breece Hall, what a storyline. He came back with a vengeance.
Well, I'll tell you that jet line open holes that I think me and Jetman could run through. That was some great blocking at the point of attack by the Jets too.
We'll see if
Brees
they can
Hall
do
did
that
that.
against Dallas.
That's the only way. That's the way they beat them. That's the way they beat them, Jetman. Have a great Sunday. Good luck, buddy.
All right, buddy.
So there you go, Jetman, doing his visit.
I'm trying to find my Kool-Aid.
For those of you who don't know, it's not an inside joke. Jim Jeffcoat has drank the entire Kool-Aid supply in Dallas this year. He's saying the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. And we'll see. I mean,
you had me with Cincinnati. I had Miami and Dallas versus Dallas. I don't know where we got Cincinnati. You had Cincinnati.
I got the Chargers. That's Jack. I got Chargers against the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I got Miami playing
Dallas against Miami.
I got Miami playing the Chargers and championship
over Philadelphia.
Yes. So
you have
so anyway. So
Cincinnati to win the Super Bowl, beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. You know, Pags, he's not on today, but Pags is kind of gloating. Well, we're getting the W's with the Eagles. We're not playing that well, but we're winning. That's a sign of a good team. You're playing under par. You're winning your games, and you peak later, but you're putting these wins in the bank. Yeah,
I agree. W is a W because Jalen Hurts. The only thing I want to talk a little bit about is Brown, AJ Brown, DJ Brown, TJ Brown. He hasn't been getting the ball a lot lately. I don't know if it's because of the coverage or just because Devontae Smith is getting better. I'm not sure. It's just like he seems to be going to Smith more than he's going to Brown. He was visibly upset on the sideline.
Because of coverages.
I think so.
People are trying to take A.J. Brown out because A.J. Brown is a dynamic player. And not saying Smith isn't because he was a Heisman Trophy winner. But
right.
I just think A.J. Brown is the guy. And Smith is a good accessory to A.J. Brown.
You can't beat it though, right, Jim? You can't beat that. I mean, you can't double both. You could, but then you got to worry about the tight end.
You got to worry about Goddard then.
Yeah, Eagles always got a great.
Who would you take as a duo if you had a choice? Okay, Brown and Devontae Smith, a Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You had to pick one pair over the other.
I would still
take
a
tough call.
Tyreek Hill and Waddle. And that's just my opinion.
I mean I like that
one.
Brown is big. I like that. I think that's a little different there. What do you guys think about the running game with the Eagles? I know we mentioned it a little bit.
That was impressive.
Their new running back, Smith also.
Yeah, DeAndre Smith.
Thank you, DeAndre Smith.
Oh, Swift. I'm sorry, Swift.
Swift good. I mean, that could be their new number one running back. I mean, I know they go by committee, but the number one running back's the number one running back. It would be interesting. Yeah. I think they found him.
So,
and
Mac, let me ask you and you mentioned this, is the size of the line, and you got a guy like Swift running the ball.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Because you just can't stop the running. You got to have somebody in the box to stop the running game.
You do.
Mac, let's talk about your Giants today. We're trying to give them a little bit equal time. I know last week was a fiasco, 40-0. That's an ugly score. What bothered me about the Giants, no one stepped up on defense to lead. A question of pride. I don't care how far you're down. Teams with true leadership, they're going to play hard at the end, even if the game is out of reach. No one stepped up. There was a void of leadership.
What bothered me about the Giants defense is Dexter Lawrence showboating when they're getting beat. I mean, getting your butt.
Yeah, there's players that do that, Jim. I disagree with that 100% too. I think that's ridiculous.
But you just got on Dion about certain things, but you let Dexter Lawrence getting beat bad.
Dexter Lawrence didn't have Lil Wayne coming out with him during the preseason.
What does that have to do with the game, though?
Well, that's listen. I'm saying Lil Wayne does not belong in the locker room or coming out in the field. It's Colorado Buffalo.
It's a show, and that's what they're doing. It's just a show.
Jim, you're a football.
They didn't get beat.
You're a football player.
Giants got beat.
Do you want a singer? that's two different stories. You got college pro, whatever. You want a singer leading you out there on your team? Get the hell out of the
It
way.
is what it is.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm asking you personally, as a football player.
It doesn't bother me.
It wouldn't bother. It wouldn't bother
It's
you.
brought
This
a
guy's
lot more
going to lead you
energy
out.
to the
Are you
University of
serious?
Colorado. It's bringing in.
Dion is out of the box. That's what makes Dion so special.
There's
I like
energy.
Dion. I'm an old timer, but I like Dion's style.
I'm
If
not
I was
saying-
an owner, he would be
I'm
on my
not
short
saying-
list to
I'm not
hire.
saying I don't like Deion Sanders. He's doing a tremendous job at Colorado. I'm saying the rest of the extra stuff isn't needed. There's already electricity. It's already popping out there. You don't have to bring an old used up Lil Wayne to lead the team out in the field. Come on,
No,
man.
it's no big.
Come on.
To me,
I mean,
it's
if
not
you wanna-
that big
listen,
of a deal.
Bring Jim Jeffcoat out there, a former
Wait,
player.
whoa. What is the difference?
Good.
Wait. What is the difference between that and when Floyd Mayweather would enter the ring, Justin Bieber would be with him holding the belt up in the
Did I
air?
say I
What's
like
the
that?
difference?
Did I say I like that? Did I say I like that? I didn't say I like that.
I mean,
you
Matt,
like
you
that?
want to play at the score touchdown and just hand the ball to the referee.
That's
Yeah.
what
I
real
mean,
professional-
we're living in a
that's
new
what-
age, you know.
that's
Let
just
them
where
have
kids are.
fun.
That's
I bet you
the
had.
way
I bet you had long hair and you
Yeah.
would listen to that
And
horn block.
let me tell you something.
Matt would make them
Homer
take
Jones-
shaves, cut their
Homer
hair
Jones-
short.
Homer Jones is the first one that spiked the football, so I don't have a problem with a little celebration. But be like you've been there, like Emmitt Smith, like Barry Sanders.
I
I'm
do it
supposed
with
to
this,
say-
Mac. You're right about this. It drives me crazy. There's 2 minutes left in the game, and the team could be down 35-0, and they score a touchdown, and they spike the ball, and they're doing a little end zone dance. A few of the
That's
guys.
all.
That
If you're
drives
winning,
me
it's
crazy.
different. If you're losing, you got to figure out ways to win.
But
Forget
but you don't have your little fun celebration, if the game is out of reach.
It's all about me. They're on the camera. Look at me. That's the way it is today. It's a shame. It really is. It's a shame. Lil Wayne, go back to singing. Stay off the football field before.
But you're picking.
Okay?
You're picking the. I like
He's
the
on the Skip
Giants
Bayless
today.
show. He's a co-host.
What?
He's a
But
co-host
you're-
on the Skip Bayless show. I'm not a
He's-
Skip Bayless fan.
Who's a co-host?
Lil Wayne. He's
Well,
one of
you
the co-hosts.
see, you see where
Well,
that show
fine.
is going anyway. Skip Bayless can't even control the show over there anymore. He's having more problems than I do. Anyway, guys, thank
But
you
I
a
like
lot.
the Giants. Next week, you'll be in a much better mood, Mac. The Giants should take care of business today.
Yeah, I'll be in a
against
great mood. We're going up
Cardinals.
against the 49ers
Cardinals
next week.
are medicine for the Giants today.
That's going to be
They're
great. We're
staying
gonna-
out west. You know that. They're staying
Yeah,
out west.
I wish they'd stay out west for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Short week. Then they play the 49ers on
Yeah.
Thursday. Wow.
Yes, they
Giants
do.
better win today. Because if they don't win today, in a few days, they're going to be 0-3.
Yes, I think you should be giving the pregame speech to the Giants today. I think you should. Yeah. So
Listen,
anyway-
I would be good. Listen,
I
I would
love
be good in the draft room. I just want to mention one player who slipped under the radar. It's going to have a
Right.
big year. You mentioned the Chiefs. I was high on him when they drafted one of the best players in the draft, Trent McDuffie. You remember that name? Trent McDuffie, the safety on the
Cornerback.
Chiefs. He's going to be elite.
All right.
They have him moving around different formations on defense.
All right.
Yeah.
So there we go. What's his first name?
Trent
Trent
McDuffie.
You
He's
already
a corner.
forgot it, Jim.
He was hurt last year.
When it comes to Jack, I lose
Well,
my mind.
no. He's my Micah Parsons of the year
Okay.
before.
right.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
guys.
All right. Have a good Sunday.
Have
Hope
a good Sunday.
Yeah, well, we got Sunday, Monday night, 2 games on Monday night this week.
Yeah.
Should be a very interesting week. A lot of teams got beat that we thought wouldn't get beat and got beat down. Let's see if they can turn it around. Let's see if some of those teams that won last week that weren't supposed to can keep winning. That's going to be interesting too. So this is signing off from the Mac, Jack, and Jim Big Football Show. Thanks to all the guests coming in. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope your team wins today.
Last year, I should say, at the trading deadline. And it's nice to see Carlos recover quickly from this one good one. Well, we can't expect him to stay up here, Drew. Carlos is MO. I'm in New York City. We're going to switch to football, Tanner. So if you got some comments about football, get them ready, fire them up, and we'll make the transition here in a second. I'm in New York City. I want a championship caliber winning staff players, period. I don't disagree. We disagree on who those people are. That's all. We all want championships. And by the way, when it comes to, I wouldn't even talk about the Mets and the Yankees the same way. Mets do not have even close to the pedigree the Yankees have. And Yankee fans like myself should be far more upset than Met fans because you don't have the freaking track record. And you're never going to either, by the way, like the Knicks and the Nets. Conha isn't having trouble driving runs. Well, now that they're out of it. Only 6 NL wildcard contenders, maybe 4 have negative run. Yeah, that's interesting, too, by the way. The Padres still, with a huge run differential. I promise we'll get to some football here at some point. We did talk college football for the first hour, which threw me behind a little bit. What's amazing to me is the Padres, it's very hard to be 7 games under 500 and be plus 68 run differential. And Drew is correct. The Reds, the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, and the Giants all with pretty good run differentials. Bad on the bad side. Cubs have the best of all those wild cards. The team I hate the least or the most. But anyway, one of the great races left is the wild card race where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll count 5 teams for 2 spots. I'm going to give the Phillies the benefit of the doubt and say they're in. 5 teams for 2 spots. In the American League, you've got Yankees trying hard to sneak back in this, but I don't think that'll happen. A miracle would have to happen. The Mariners, Blue Jays, the Rangers, and the Rays. You've got basically 3 teams fighting for 2 spots there. You still got pretty good. I want to get to the standings just so that we can move on to football. You got a great race yet in the American League. The Orioles and the Rays with a pretty good series going back and forth this week. The Rays still just 1 game behind the Orioles. Great race out west in the American League. The Astros holding on to first place despite losing 2 in a row. They've all lost 2. That's the problem. Every team in the division's on a losing streak, basically. The Mariners have lost 2 in a row. The Rangers have lost 2 in a row. The Rangers a half game back, do hold the last wild card spot. I believe it's the last wild card spot. And the Mariners. I'm on record as saying the Rangers will not make it. The Blue Jays will, and the Mariners will, along with the Rays, obviously. In the National League, you got no division races to speak of. We just talked about the wild card race. I did say Friday when Scott Cody put me on the spot. I predicted that the Cubs would fall out of the race. They've lost 4 in a row, and they are now just a half a game ahead of the Reds and the Diamondbacks, and a game ahead of the Marlins. I did say the Cubs would be out, the Diamondbacks and the Marlins would be in. See how that holds up. Finish up our baseball talk here. So we move on to the NFL. Jackson has been on the Astros staff and won a World Series. Doing what? Doing what exactly? Come on, Carlos. He's there for his name, and you know it. Reggie Jackson has no pedigree, front office pedigree at all. He wasn't asked for his opinion in New York for a reason. He's a great baseball player, not an evaluator. End of story. Jeter dumps Stanton and Yelich. Well, again, I said, well, is that good? Yelich was still a great player when he got rid of him. And who did he get back for freaking Stanton? Where are they? Gone. I want Stearns to maybe... yeah. Again. Keep dismissing. We'll move on. This will be our transition, I guess, to football. Schoen and Daboll surely likely will have their day sooner or later. One of the biggest overreactions in week 1 is the Giants and the Cowboys. The Cowboys are not that good. The Giants are not that bad. The Giants are a very good football team with a very small margin for error. They don't have the same margin for error that the Eagles have, right? Or the 49ers have, or even the Cowboys have. They have got to be clicking on all cylinders, which, by the way, they did with Brian Daboll and Schoen as their coach. When was the last time this team was in the playoffs and won a game, Carlos, before last year? And don't tell me about the game they lost to the Eagles. I'm not asking about that. Why do I have to defend the teams I hate? Unbelievable the way you guys hate on a team and hate on a quarterback who, if he'd been a second-round pick, would be a star to you guys. But because he was picked 6th in the draft, you think he stinks. He's gotten better every single year. Now, he has one bad game, and yes, the coaching staff put him in a horrible position last week to have a chance to win that game. They were not ready to play. But I will tell you that 40-0 decision was also influenced greatly by the fact that I talk about all the time that nobody is prepared to play in week 1 because they don't hit in training camp. They don't play real football in training camp. And you cannot possibly be ready for real football in week 1, 2, or 3. Giants will recover today against the worst team in football. I love the Jets. Another big overreaction. Aaron Rodgers, great quarterback. Great move. I've done a lot of the rating of Aaron Rodgers over the last 4 years. This was a good move for the Jets. Their season is not over because Aaron Rodgers is out with a ruptured Achilles. And by the way, he's not coming back this year no matter what he says. I've had the injury. I'm not an NFL football player. He's not coming back. But the Jets are still got too much talent. Zach Wilson, in the few weeks that he's had to beat, a few weeks, I guess it's months when you go back to OTAs and whatnot, Aaron Rodgers was a good influence on Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson, by the way, played pretty competent football against a good football team Monday night in the second half. He came in, it was a little shaky. There's too much talent around him. That defense is championship caliber. They play great football on Monday night. Huge overreactions. Biggest overreactions in football for me. Giants Cowboys game. Turf football fields. Cleveland Browns, Miami Dolphins. Get somebody else written here and I can't write it down. I guess it was the Browns. Oh, the Browns. I think I said that. Huge overreactions. Mets traded him. Fandom should be frustrated. For some reason, they mentioned contending in the last 2 years instead of when we're talking about R.A. Dickey. Yeah, I don't even remember who they got for him. Does anybody even remember who they got for him? A lot of key injuries in football today, as Drew says. Eckler's out. Big fantasy football implications. Hopkins, Dulcich. I dropped him. Used my tight end on a bunch of teams. Zerline. Dante Johnson. All good points. Yes, thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for helping Zach Wilson. What color should be his game? What the hell? Yeah, Jesus Christ. You know, Carlos, the reason I get so frustrated with you is you make these types of comments. You don't think, by the way, how did Jordan Love play last week? Now, maybe that's an overreaction and we shouldn't get too excited about, but he played pretty good football. You know why? And I hate, believe me, here I am again, defending a guy that I can't stand in Aaron Rodgers. He's selfish, but he's not selfish in the fact that he has also helped bring along young quarterbacks, Jordan Love and Zach Wilson. Jordan Love, he helped the 2 years he was in Green Bay, where Brett Favre, the prima donna, would not help Aaron Rodgers even a little bit after he was drafted because he said it's not his job. which maybe it's not. But you're doing a disservice to your organization if you're not preparing the guy who's going to replace you, because you may just retire. You may not leave and go to other teams and travel around the league like Brett Favre did and Aaron Rodgers chose to do. So here I am defending a guy I don't like, because everybody's got some kind of redeeming quality, don't they? Most people, maybe not me, but most people. Huge overreactions to some of these games last week. Let me look at a couple other games real quick from last week. That's my standings. Where's my crap? All right, let me guess I don't need this anymore. Let me go last week's scores real quick. Then we're going to get to this week's games, I promise you. It's only 10 after. I do have to be done at 10:30. Got a guy coming to put some fans up, plus I got to get out of here. And yes, I can hang my own ceiling fans. The problem is the ceiling is 20 feet in the air. I can't do that. Overreactions. Lions beating the Chiefs. Huge overreaction. Watch the Lions get beat at home today by Seattle, by the way. Eagles. We already saw the Eagles come back. We had guys ripping the Eagles offense on Friday morning. What are they watching? Week one, their offense was not good. The Patriots did a great job. A little bit of an overreaction to the Eagles' struggles there as they played very well. And by the way, I'm going to say not an overreaction. Mac Jones played really good football last week. 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Bad one early in the game. Patriots showed me something last week. There's no moral victories in this league, but they showed me something last week. Staying in this game with a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. Bad mistakes, couple penalties. But for most of this game, they played well against a good Eagle defense. Smart move. Why I keep saying to you guys who think the Patriots are going to win 5 or 6 games this year, all you need to know about the difference in this Patriot team was shown to you last week with the way the play calling went from Bill O'Brien and controlling it. I said, by the way, before the game started, they controlled that pass rush. They would slow that pass rush down. He got sacked once late in the game, Mac Jones, by a team that sacked the most quarterbacks in football last year. They slowed it down with screen passes, ran the football effectively for the most part, kept the ball away from the Eagles' offense, and slowed down the pass rush. Got themselves back in the game after digging a huge hole. Giants couldn't do it. Patriots almost did. Browns 24-3. Again, to me, this is just, again, a situation of a team not being prepared coming out of training camps where we don't prepare. We don't get players ready for football. And if you think I'm wrong, tune into the Mac and Jack and Jim Jeffcoat show. Jim Jeffcoat, one of the great defensive linemen of all time with the Dallas Cowboys. He probably ought to be in a Hall of Fame. Agrees with me 100% that the reason we see such crappy football in September is the fact that training camp is, like day camp. You can't get ready to play real football games in helmets and shorts. You wear pads 10 times a preseason, and then nobody plays in preseason games, and then the games stink. And Carlos is going to tell me he's tired of watching bad football from New York teams. Well, how about we actually get the NFL Players Association to stop worrying about replacing Fields as cause of injuries and maybe get guys prepared to actually get hit. Let them get hit in training camp. Let them get hit in preseason games. Let them get hit in practice during the season, because that's what prepares you to get hit during games. My argument is against turf, against grass. It's about the Players Association negotiating all this nonsense that is, again, just like pitchers I talk about. The reason we have so many injuries is because these freaking teams are trying to protect players, and the things they're doing to protect them is actually hurting them. Same thing with the NFL Football Players Association by trying to protect their players by having them limit the times they get hit outside of games is getting them hurt more in games. End of story. I'll get to your comments in a second. I want to see some other overreactions. Maybe there were no other ones. I don't think the 49ers game is an overreaction, 30-7. I think they're that good. Steelers, I don't think are as bad as that, but the Cardinals only losing by 4. Don't get confused. That's a horrible football team. Packers, we'll find out whether that's an overreaction. 3 touchdowns for Jordan Love in this game, by the way. Helped by Aaron Rodgers the last 2 years. Raiders beat the Broncos. Not sure what to make of that. Dolphins, let's not get too excited about the, 5,000 yards of offense the Chargers ran up. On the road, that was impressive. But we'll see if somehow Bill Belichick slows that offense down today. They'll have a chance. We'll go through those games in just a second. Rams 30-13 over the Seahawks. I still like the Seahawks to make the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I'm not going to overreact there even a little bit. Again, this is more a sign of lack of preparation because of the way the players are allowed to do nothing in training camp to prepare for the season, basically. Cowboys, Giants, we talked about. Jets and Bills, we talked about. Let me get to your comments, and then we'll go to the games for this week. If the Jets win the Super Bowl with a kid, it's the best Christmas gift. They might. As you know, my pick was the Jets against the Seahawks. The Jets would lose. I am not ready to say. I do say this makes it easier for the other AFC East teams. When you don't have to prepare for Aaron Rodgers, you got to prepare for Zach Wilson. But Zach Wilson doesn't need to be great. Zach Wilson needs to be good. That's it. There are so many weapons around this Jet team, unless they're just decimated by injuries somehow. They could still win a lot of football games. Jordan Love realized he was actually a starter the last game. What does that mean? What does that mean? They're preparing to be the starters all off season. What does that mean? And again, if you pay attention to what's going around the league, you know that Aaron Rodgers worked very closely with Jordan Love to help him develop his game and be ready to be the starter. I'm not telling you that Aaron Rodgers is totally responsible for Jordan Love's play last week. And again, I got to see more out of him before I think that's real. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Rieger. I'm not sure you're going to see him on the field a whole lot today. Melvin Gordon with Baltimore might be. We lost in the Aaron Rodgers hyperbole is the fact that J.K. Dobbins went down with the exact same injury last weekend as well. Carlos is a gaslighter. Carlos handles it well. Because he'll just come back with something stupider. There you go. Thank you, Carlos, for backing up my comment as I was making it. Mac Jones had a Mike White performance. Yeah, because Mac Jones has never shown he can play in this league. Everybody wants to take, the first 6 games. He played very well in the second half of last season, by the way. Did throw a bad interception in the last game when they could have made the playoffs, but he played horrible the first 7, 8, 9 games of the season last year. The rest of the season, he played much better. He had a very good rookie season and made the playoffs. Mike White's done all of that, hasn't he? Mike White has one good game, he gets hurt. See you, Billy. Have a good day, buddy. Let's get into the picks here so we get out of here. Back to football. We are back to football. Other than the Fish, the Bolts, and Thursday night NFL games so far back in Texas, the best football has been high school football games. Well, that's almost always the case, isn't it? CA? I would say one state, maybe two. Actually, it might be more. A lot of those schools in the South, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, they may actually care more about high school football than they do college or the pros. And they care a lot about those teams too. So that tells you how much they care about their their high school team. Sorry, I lost track of what I was saying. Let's look at this week's games quick before we run out of time. I'll give you my picks. I don't know who I'm going to pick in this big survivor pool. Just don't know. We already had the Eagles win, we know, the other night. Ravens and Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals in this game, -3.5. God, it's a tough pick for the survivor pool this week. It really is. We should have taken the Eagles the other night, but we should have done. Bengals, I like the Bengals over the Ravens at home, -3.5. I think they'll bounce back. Joe Burrow can't play that bad. That's the worst game of Joe Burrow's career. I'm going to take the Patriots +3 at home. I'm going to bet that Bill Belichick and that defensive coaching staff will find a way to slow down this team. One way to slow them down: keep them off the field. Run the football, run the screens the way they did last week. Keep the ball moving down the field. Control the clock. Don't turn the ball over. Don't have bad penalties, and you'll have a chance to win this game. Again, Dolphins may win this game. Patriots will not go down without a fight. I love the Bills -8.5. Bills will bounce back. One of the other big overreactions is the overreactions to the bad game Josh Allen had last week. There was a lot of stuff going on in that game. Josh Allen needs to control himself a little better. He's still one of the top 3 quarterbacks in football. Buffalo will very likely be our problem is everybody's going to take Buffalo. I like to find a team where I can root against a bunch of guys to fall out of the pool. And I need another 120 to go out of this pool this week. What I need. Giants, well, the post picks have them -4. I think they might be 5.5. I like the Giants over the Cardinals a lot. They'll be a bet for me today as well. Probably going to, actually, the Giants might be our might be. It's either going to be Giants or Buffalo will probably be our survivor pool pick. I like the Jets +9 at the Cowboys. Again, they may not win this game, but I can see the Jets being in this game. Too much talent all over the field. I know quarterback is hugely important. I'm not dismissing that. Zach Wilson just needs to manage the game. Stay within himself. Don't turn the ball over. Throw the ball away when there's nothing there. I like the Jets a lot. I like the 49ers -7.5 at the Rams. The Rams played good last week, but the 49ers are so much better than the Rams. They're without Cooper Kupp. I'm shocked they beat Seattle last week. Until they show me something different, I'm not taking the Rams. They got to show me some consistency in doing that. And the 49ers won over, I think, a pretty good Pittsburgh team by 30 on the road last week. Seahawks, I like +4.5 over the Lions. I'll take the Chargers -2.5 over Tennessee at home. Got to come back from a bad loss to Miami last week. Chiefs -3.5 over the Jaguars. Listen, again, I will tell you, the demise of the Kansas City Chiefs is greatly exaggerated. I may bet the over in some of these games. I think there's going to be some points scored. Unlike last week, there was a lot of low-scoring games, at least on one side of the ball. The Texans and the Colts is probably a game that you'd have to pay me to go see. I'm going to take the Texans on the road here. Packers. I'm going to take the Falcons at home over the Packers. I like what the Falcons did last week. They look good. Maybe it's an overreaction to that. The Packers did go in and handle the Bears on the road last week. 2 weeks in a row on the road. I'm going to take the Falcons in this game. Buccaneers and Bears. Boy, this is a tough one for me. I like the Bears. I picked the Bears to win that Central. This is going to be a tough game on the road. I'm going to take the Bears to rebound against a Buck team that surprised me last week, winning in Minnesota. Broncos, I will pick to come back and beat the Commanders at home. I do like the Broncos, and I'd like Wilson to be one of the comeback player of the year in the NFL. Probably going to take the Saints over the Panthers because I don't think the Panthers are very good. Not a big fan of the Saints either, and Derek Carr, but I will take the Saints in this game. And I will take the Steelers at home plus 2.5 over the Browns. I think the Steelers are a lot better than they showed last week, and I don't think the Browns are nearly as good as they showed last week. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Take a look at your comments as we get ready to wrap up this week of Stream of Consciousness. Drew, what do you got? Dallas Robert Jones might qualify as a good Texas team. I would agree. But again, I think one of my overreactions for week one is on both sides of this. Dallas is not as good as what you saw. The Giants are not as bad as what you saw. Again, I expect the Giants to bounce back and still contend for a playoff spot. Maybe even be a surprise in this division. Rams upset of San Francisco would be very dramatic. San Francisco is really, really good. Carlos hates anything to do with the Shanahans, but this is a really good football team. Brock Purdy is the real deal. If they stay healthy, they run the ball. They got guys who can go out and catch the ball. They play good defense. They don't turn the ball over. Good team. Shanahan teams has 6 games in a row against the Rams, which I take as a compliment from you, Carlos. You don't normally say anything nice about the teams run by Kyle Shanahan, so thank you for that. Any last words, guys, before I wrap it up? We're going to wrap it up a few minutes early. Those are my picks. But anything else I want to talk about in football? Let me look real quick. Lots of injuries. Drew talked about that at the top. Sounds like the guy's working upstairs on my fans, and I got to get ready to get out of here in 45 minutes or so. She's unlikely to be able to tag Jones, by the way, so who knows when that's going to get resolved. Charlie Sanders is a great tight end for the Lions. Barry Sanders has a statue unveiled at Ford Field. Well-deserved. Barry Sanders, one of the great players, running backs in NFL history. Never got a chance to play in a good team. The Packers are likely to be without both Aaron Jones and Christian Watkins today. What else? Anything else? That's about all I got. Brandon Cook's not expected to play today. Calvin Ridley debut clinches a 4th rounder to the Falcons. So with Ridley actually playing a game, he actually clinches a better pick for the Falcons. By the way, before I wrap it up, one thing we didn't talk about with the Aaron Rodgers situation is him not getting 65% of the snaps, I think, hurts Green Bay because their 1st-round pick will now become a 2nd-round pick next year. So something we hadn't thought about. We're going to wrap it up with that. Guys, great show today. Great input from you guys. Again, keep a good thought in your mind and prayers for our good friend Dan Harris. And also, don't forget, we'll be back live Wednesday night on our regular time for the College Football Huddle. I'll also join Robert Butler at 8:30 that night on SportsScope. We'll be back with the Are You Serious show on Friday and my regular appearance on the Mac and Jack show on Friday. We'll have our Major League Baseball update Friday, and the New York Let's Talk New York show will probably be on permanent hiatus, and we'll talk more about that in the coming week. And also, we'll be back here next week with the Stream of Consciousness. You guys have been great. Have a great Sunday. Go, Patriots.